Well, I can answer that for Chris. It's for him. No, seriously.
I'd rather have him answer.
Yeah, I'd rather answer. It will be.
Our president will respond to you.
Yeah, let me.
Thank you, Mr. President.
It will take President Trump listening to the voices of South Africans, some of whom are his good friends, like those who are here. When we have talks between us around a quiet table, it will take President Trump to listen to them. I'm not going to be repeating what I've been saying. I would say if there was Afrikaner farmer genocide, I can bet you these three gentlemen would not be here, including my Minister of Agriculture. He would not be with me.
Influence, move with a practice grin, shaking hands with the lights that dim. The White House walls heard his claim to fame, but the shadows whispered a different name. Oh, am I false? So what's the cost? Truth uncovered, bridges crossed. You played the game but lost your way. Now the world sees the price you pay. Pretending blind to the cries at home, while the streets of SA ache and moan. Right, the man with the golden hue, but the deal fell flat and the lies broke through. Oh, am I fool? So what's the cost? Truth uncovered, bridges crossed. You played the game but lost your way. Now the world sees the price you pay. Closed doors, the mask came off. No suits, no ties, just shadows aloft. The past screams loud from the buried ground. Now the silence breaks with a deafening sound. Oh, am I false? So what's the cost? Truth uncovered, bridges crossed. You played the game but lost your way. Now the world sees the price you pay. What's the cost? Truth uncovered, bridges crossed. The horrors rise from a nation torn. Whispers turn to cries of scorn. History's weight won't stay concealed. Every wound must one day heal. Oh, am I false? So what's the cost? Truth uncovered, bridges crossed. You played the game but lost your way. Now the world sees the price you pay. What's the cost? Truth uncovered, bridges crossed. You pay.
And they're doing precisely what we said we as South Africans should not do. We should stop running to other countries. We should discuss our own problems here.
Golden hair blazing in the sun's fierce light. A figure stands tall in the dead of night. Shadows crawl, but he doesn't sway. A sentinel guarding the break of day. Words like fire burn through the air. A defender of dreams and the world's despair. Facing storms with an unyielding grin. The fight for truth always starts within. Stand tall, golden hair in the wind. The tides may rise, but we won't give in. Through the chaos, a beacon so bright, leading us all to the end. carries a vision of might. Foes gather aiming from every side, but he moves with purpose and endless pride. Try to break him with venom and lies, but he soared like an eagle, piercing the skies. A symbol of hope when the night is long, a melody rising, a defiant song. Stand tall, golden hair in the wind. The tides may rise, but we won't give in. Through the chaos, a beacon so bright, leading us all to the edge of the fight.
Good evening, America. Unless you're watching from California, then maybe not so good. Just kidding. Sort of, it's your favorite president, some say the best ever. And tonight, I've got a few things to say. So grab your popcorn, turn off the fake news, and let's talk about what's really going on. It's going to be good, really good.
I'm saying bye to all the lies and all the times you cried, saying that I wasn't right, yet I was right by your side. You manipulator, playing games, your friends commentators, and I don't know what you say about our private conversations, but it's got them hating. Thanks to all the rumors you be claiming. It's cool, I'm done with you, so they can throw you a celebration. You gon' hate it when you see me with somebody living better. I'm trying to tell you that me just doing me gon' have you jealous.
Good evening, good morning, folks. Welcome back to the Night Owls edition. It's before midnight here on the East Coast of the United States. It's already tomorrow, points further east, out over the Atlantic, Europe, Africa, and points further east. Welcome back to all the Neanderthals, the canines, the right-wing podcasters, and a special welcome to all car guards migrating from South Africa to the United States. Thank you so much. We really do need the car guards. We appreciate the skills you bring in parking automobiles and splicing DNA, doing agronomy, building software, building factories, providing financial analysis. You are the most talented car guards we've ever met, and we're grateful for your presence here in America, whether you're black, brown, or white. Thank you for fleeing from poverty-stricken, collapsing infrastructure collapsed South Africa. But I have to say I'm heartbroken for those left behind because South Africa's human capital is now bleeding from the country as more and more people arrive in the United States under the Refugee Resettlement Program, courtesy of a failed state of South Africa. And this morning, I'm going to talk about more propagandists from Times Live, Barney Mbata this time, speaking utter nonsense about what's happening, and the lies being told about the White House still go on and on. The video is there for the world to see and dissect the lies of News 24, the Daily Maverick, Independent Online, which actually hasn't been that bad, but that's better than the rest so far. And of course, none other than Times Live. Nothing but pure yellow journalism. And shame on them. Welcome to who's in the audience here. Got some folks from the States in at this hour. Thank you for joining. So Freya Dutoy came in before we started. Bug Out ZA, Delana Fillon, Anita DeVos. Let's see who else we got here in the chat. John LaRue, Tasmania. Okay. It's early afternoon for John in Tasmania. Always wanted to go to Tasmania. And who else we got here? And then one day, perhaps, the World Cup will be there in 2027. Perhaps I can make it to Tasmania then. You're in Hobart. Oh, okay. Wow, Hobart. That's a place I've always wanted to visit. Yeah, Tasmania is a fascinating part of the world. Erica nearly immigrated there several years ago. She regrets not going. After 8 years, we're more or less in the same financial position. I don't think she ever regrets it. She said she did, but I don't think she does. Same financial position when we left South, we really can't compete. Why not, John? Why can't you compete? Is there something in Australia that prevents you from competing against the illegal Chinese that are pouring into the country? Makes it bold to ask, how is it living that side? Are you asking me, Delana, or are you asking John LaRue? Where? That side being New Zealand, that side being the U.S. How is it living in America? It's heaven on earth. It's the land of milk and honey. It's a land where a person like me, who had not 2 nickels to scratch together, lived on a family that subsisted on federal aid with food stamps and free lunches when I went to school, missed meals, didn't have electricity. A person like that can go to university through the generosity of the taxpayers and get my education and then earn my education on my own through serving the military, earn multiple postgraduate degrees, become a published author, a university lecturer at undergraduate at Iowa State, and a postgrad university lecturer at the Army War College, a published author, as I said, in academic circles by Stellenbosch University and the Army War College, and a popular press writer in military defense security journals, and also contributed to newspapers around the world, learned 6 languages, and experienced the world. And save money by being a responsible adult from the age of 18, enough so that regardless of the outcome of things, I shall be okay. That's what America's like. We have the Grand Canyon, we have Acadia National Forest, we have the Great Lakes, we have the Cascades, the Olympics, the Appalachians, the Rockies, the Great Plains. We have a cornucopia of wonder. We have Icelandic communities, we have Somali communities, we have Amish communities, we have Cuban communities. And we have an America where people assimilate and bring their own cultural values, adding to our kaleidoscope that makes us unique. Being an American is not white, it's not black, it's not brown, it's not Christian, it's not Muslim, it's not Jew. Being an American is an idea whose time came a long time ago. The greatest country in the history of humankind. Since people first formed polities, nothing has beaten America. We have our dark moments, we have our mistakes, we have our problems, but every country does, because countries are run by men. Yes, men. That includes women, for those of you who are just feminist lunatics. Every country is run by men and women and men are flawed and make mistakes, and therefore they make mistakes. But this is the greatest experiment in democracy, in a republic, in self-governance, in history. This is the place. It's beautiful, it's wonderful, it's amazing. For all its warts, nothing is better than this. Canada sucks by comparison, and I like Canada. Yeah. So how is it on this side? Wonderful. Wonderful. I can leave my front door open overnight and nobody's coming in my home. I can leave my car unlocked and leave the keys in the car and no one will steal my car. I can go to the supermarket and not worry about being assaulted by someone smacking the back of the head because I'm Jewish. I can walk around my local campuses at the universities here, 3 within 20 minutes of my house, 1 south, 1 directly north, and 1 directly west. And if I go a little further, another 15 minutes, there's another 4 or 5 universities around here where thousands of people study in higher education. One is a religious school, not too far from me, a religious university. It is an amazing place where you can go from being a dairy farmer to being a political scientist, where you can go from being dirt poor to being an astronaut, where you can go from owning nothing to becoming a billionaire. And if you're lazy, useless, to shift about, and you can suffer and go the other direction. A country that doesn't believe in painting the sins of the fathers on the sons and daughters. This country doesn't care what your parents or your grandparents did. We don't give a flip about them. If your parents were complicit in the crimes of the Nazis in Germany, what do you have to do with it? If your parents were complicit in apartheid in South Africa, what do we care? We don't care. It's the content of your character, it's your behavior, it's your actions, it's how you interact with the world that we care about. That's the true American, not the leftist hate-wanking direction that Obama and Biden slanted this country so far towards. We're pulling back from that now. How is it on this side? It's amazing, Delana. Did I answer your question? How do I compare it to South Africa? South Africa is a beautiful country with amazing people that is rapidly circling the drain. South Africa is now circling the drain. Since February 7th, South Africa is circling the drain because the actions of South African politicians, instead of being honest about what's happening in South Africa, they lied about Trump. They lied. They've sat back while racist attacks have grown exponentially, not arithmetically, against minority South Africans, in particular white South Africans. The open, blatant racism is off the charts now. The farm attacks are spiking. The murders are increasing. And the theft is getting worse, all because politicians don't give a flip. South Africa is circling the drain, I'm sad to report this morning. It's awesome here. Can't compare it to South Africa. We don't have alarms, no fences around our property. Everything works. Yes, and you live in a land of fascist dictators like Jacinda Ardern, the coward who was too cowardly to stay in government because she knew she was going to get shellacked after her fascist policies in which they locked up people who tested positive for corona in hotels and billed them at the full rack rate and had police outside with arms in case they tried to walk out the door, creating basically leper colonies at your personal expense and being hailed by the world, the horse-faced Jacinda Ardern, as a great leader, a magnanimous leader, despite the fact that every single action that she took was a full 2 weeks after having the same information that Donald Trump had. Yet he was blamed for the Chinese communist plague, and she was hailed when her actions caused people to die. And when Taiwan had 1/3 as many fatalities and 1/5 as many cases of COVID because they actually sealed their borders properly, they were ignored by the World Health Organization and kept out of the annual health conference because the Chinese communists demanded it. But New Zealand was hailed under their fascist socialist dictator, Mr. Ed, also known as Jacinda Ardern. Yeah, New Zealand's a wonderful country except for the politicians and the black supremacist Maori. There are plenty of them too. All right, so that was before the stream started, so let's see what they've got to say about what I've got to say. Okay, long nails, okay. Tasmanian devils are ugly. Don't want to see that. Yeah, they are. They can eat anything, man. They have an incredible stomach. But they're getting sick, transmitting diseases because of the way that they hang out together. Coffee, okay. Bloodkop, yeah, that I didn't think that was very funny. That wasn't that funny. Warren von Rensburg, hello to you, Miss Know-It-Alls here. Jack Up, Loretta, Peter Wick, Ingrid's Inspirations, CB Marius Filionen. It's time to stand up. We need to stop the killing. I agree. E.B. Badenhorst. And then we got Vanna Kasselman, Vanessa Blossom. Love the song. Kimberly Benedict. Greetings to you, John LaRue. Mike is in. Yes, DJT, win, win, win. All I want to do is win, 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 no matter what. I love the babies. The baby Trumps are amazing, Cindy. Henny Pretorius, hello to you. Shawnee Grows in from Minnesota. How's it going, Shawnee? Haven't seen you the past few days. Are you keeping well? Not buffering. It must be on your end. Rebecca, hello to you. And enjoy the kitten bundle of fluffy joy. Cats are lovely, but they make people sneeze. So, World War III. Wow, more deflection from the DC swamp. Huh? What are you talking about, World War III, Buck and Terry? Wanted to ask you the same thing. They are in Rumble Live, but not on YouTube. Who is in Rumble Live? And where is Holden Caulfield? There he is. Happened to Caravan of Midnight. Oh, they're not on YouTube? I didn't know that. Caravan of Midnight. Wow. Is it gone from YouTube? Wow. Let me take a look at that. Huh. Did they lose their channel? Caravan of Midnight. Well, it's there. It's there. This is old. This is John B. Wells' channel, 148,000. 10 videos. No. Maybe it's not there anymore. Yeah. Is their channel gone? Wow. Huh. Huh. I don't see it. That's a good question. I only see it on other people's channels. Huh. Wow. Hang on a second here. Interesting. I just sent Brandy a message. Interesting. 86 degrees Fahrenheit in Minnesota. Good God, Shawnee. It's been 60 degrees here in central Pennsylvania. What are you guys doing up there? You cloud seeding or something? What's going on? Oh, good morning, Bach and Terry. Yeah. They're live on Rumble. Really? They're on Rumble right now? Rumble is not on my tabs here because I don't give very much Rumble. Okay, Caravan of Midnight. Okay. Caravan of Midnight. John B. Wells. Okay. It's just John B. Wells' channel there. Huh. You say live, but there's nothing on there. There's no sound.
A massive blackout across Spain, Portugal, France, and Belgium has sparked new debates about the state of Europe's energy infrastructure. And then,
okay. Wow. Wow. So we've currently got, that's how many people are watching right now. Oh, 1,200. Well, that's interesting. John B. Wells has been mentioned, South Africa, so I was curious. Dave Rentke, what's going on there, man? Cindy says, I agree, America is the best idea. Yep. Stefan Tinnison, good morning to you. And Sedgefield is in from the garden route. Wendy, good morning to you. Lehan Osthuizen, good morning. Strange seeing a Castleman here. Why, was that your maiden name? Amanda Lowe, hello to you. And what else we got here? It's been yeah, it's way too warm for Minnesota, man. That's 86 is the highest you ever want to be in Minnesota in the worst of summers. I don't know which channels you trust for news of inside China. Is there any? Well, I report accurately here, but I analyze the news that others report because I don't have any sources inside China. Used to have viewers, but they're afraid to speak because they'll be carted off to prison or kicked out of the country. Yes, Bug Out ZA, John B. Wells is the Lexington man. That's exactly who he was. Yep. Hello from Missouri, Tina. Hello. Tina, did you send me text messages? Is that you, the Tina, that's communicating with me by text? If it's you, Tina, please try WhatsApp, if that's you. Because there's a Tina contacting me through text, and it's not a good way to do business. Text messages are, they get deleted. They're unreliable. It's much better to use a service like WhatsApp or Telegram. So, just saying. Right, folks. Well, welcome back to the program. Pikachu says hello. By the way, that was another gift, in case everyone keeps missing that. There's an octopus over there. That octopus was a gift when I showed up in Vanderbilt Park. Ronell gave that to me. I thought the hotel put it in the room. It was sitting on the bed when I checked in. It was really cool. Yes, Pikachu is right there over my shoulder. He's keeping an eye on things. Pikachu! I love Pikachu. Yes. Americans how to measure. Oh, stop it, Dirk Clody. We've been using freaking metrics for 50 years. Stop the nonsense. You guys are so ignorant of America. You think we don't use metrics. Good Lord. How do you think I measure distance? I measure distance in kilometers. Yep. Notice my temperature is in Celsius, 21 degrees Celsius, not Fahrenheit. You're not going to teach us anything. We're further ahead than the world because we use both the imperial system and the metric system. In fact, to prove it to you, because I know you're skeptical, I will show you this right here. This is 281 milliliters right there on the label. 281 milliliters. See that? Right there. Milliliters. Yes, a dumb unit of measurement, but one we use nonetheless. The metric system is a stupid European idea because they don't know how to divide. Europeans are too stupid to do math, so everything's based on 10 because they're too stupid. Stefan says, I will speak up. About what? Our eagle painting. I don't have anything hung up, Lehan. I haven't hung up anything. Second most famous groundhog painting for the shelf. Thoughts on Russian planes, Ukraine drone attack. I think that was unbelievable, Bug Out. I think it's unbelievable. It proves once again that Ukraine is not a victim in this conflict. They're a protagonist. They are an aggressor. And attacking targets that are nuclear capable, long-range strategic bombers, all they've done is undermine global nuclear security. For decades, despite the fact that the United States and the Soviet Union and then Russia did not sign the START agreement, START 2, despite that, those treaties called for the open acknowledgement of bases and the locations for where these planes are. So the U.S. and Russia have pretty much left their long-range strategic bombers out in the open on disclosed air bases in Russia and in the United States so that we could verify these things by satellite and by visits. Now what they've done is they've forced the Russians into hiding their long-range strategic nuclear bombers, thereby jeopardizing global peace and nuclear security, because the moron, dipshit grifter who runs Ukraine is as dumb as a box of rocks, and he's pushing the world towards nuclear conflict. It is time for this person to be removed. Volodymyr Zelensky, the penis piano playing fool, must be removed from office. He is a danger to global security. And the fools in Berlin and in Paris and in London who back him must also be removed. Excised from the body politic. These are warmongering scumbags who don't care about the safety of humankind. So, does that answer the question of where I sit with Volodymyr Zelensky? And while you're at it, take out Putin too. Hotful Biker, what's up, man? Since President Claudia Sheinbaum took office, 185 Americans have been arrested by Mexican Army for organized crime offenses, averaging 3 arrests per day. Good! Good, Pablo Charlie. If Americans are in Mexico committing crimes, put their butts in jail. You think that bothers me, Pablo Charlie? I don't defend criminals. If she would like to lock up Joe Biden, I'll send him that way too. The Unreal Engine, which is a game engine which I work with, was developed in North Carolina. 100% metric. There you go. AOC 88, good morning. Is that Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez? They are keeping things from moving forward for peace. Exactly. There's an American Imperial, and then there's the regular Imperial. My dad, no, it's not an American Imperial. It's the Standard American Equivalent, SAE. Standard American Equivalent, which is the U.S. version of the Imperial system. An Imperial gallon is different than a U.S. gallon, but everything else is the same. 3/4, 5/8, the 3/16, all the same. My dad always had trouble with American Imperial. It's not American Imperial. It's American Standard American Equivalent. Yes, removed from office. Zelensky is writing checks that he cannot cash and expects the U.S. to stand in for. Keep telling people Zelensky is the same as Iran Posey. Yep, only trust the mustache man from Ukraine as far as I can throw him, which is you can't. Thank you, Flying Boar, for the super chat. You're surprised Piers Morgan didn't invite you in South Africa. I'm not. I think there's a concerted... I think there might be a conspiracy amongst media outlets in America not to have me on, because I'll blow all of them away and make so many of these people look stupid. Honestly. I've only ever been invited on to things like Caravan of Midnight and Alex Newman. I haven't heard from Alex in donkey years, and he knows I know more about South Africa than anybody. Alex Jones recently said that Joel Pollack is the only reliable source for South Africa. What a load of crock that is. That shows you how unreliable Alex Jones is. No wonder he's got $1 billion judgment against him. Yep. Can we bring our tow to tow them Rangers? We don't have Ford Rangers. We don't have Ranger pickup trucks here. You don't have to worry about towing. We have Ford F-150s, 250s, and 350s, and they're awesome. And we have awesome SUVs from Ford. Good evening, Robert Franklin Moore. Andre Jacobs, oh my goodness. Dude, I thought you passed away, or the Rona, the new NB181 version of Rona the Chinese are hiding, got you over there in China. Welcome, Andre Jacobs, man. How's it going? So glad to see you there. Flying Boar, yeah, I'll never be on Piers Morgan. I'll never be on Tucker Carlson. I'll never be on Dave Rubin. I'll never be on any of those shows. They don't want experts. They don't want engaging people to know what they're talking about. They just want their friends. Yep. Love the BS that Ukraine are operating Ukrainian drones against Russia. Exactly. They didn't build them. They either came from South Africa or they came from Europe. Yep. Probably the OS Lindsey Graham juiced up. Oh, yeah. Lindsey Graham needs to be under investigation for colluding with the enemy. Love the F-650. Never seen that. Martis Rosa, welcome. Good morning from Hermanus. Who would have thought a stand-up comedian would become a dictator? Yeah, exactly. Ford F-1350, 69. V8. Oh, V8s were amazing, Odin's. Fantastic. Watch your interview with Beloy. This guy's Shion, welcome back. It's been a while. Yeah, no, I wasn't the intent. I was supposed to be talking to DJ Sabu. Wound up being Nota Beloy. Tucker Carlson Putin interview was pathetic. He looked like a fanboy. I thought so too, Pablo Charlie. I would agree with you on that. Opinion. New video of Senior von Rensburg prophecies featuring again your thought on his predictions. But I've never read any of his predictions. I've read Nostradamus. Nostradamus and I suspect Senior von Rensburg are the same thing. People read anything they want into a prediction. The fair-haired savior will protect the world. Okay, great. Well, who is that? Is that Dennis the Menace or is it Donald Trump? Come on. Look, I'm not trying to poo-poo. It's not something I believe in. Those prophecies I don't believe in. American born and raised, just care about South Africa. Yes, Tina, but are you the one sending me text messages? It's coming from an American number from someone named Tina. Piers Morgan does not impress me. All he does is start fights. Yeah, calls the show uncensored, but bleeps out where he... Yeah, exactly. Piers Morgan has never impressed me. I'll definitely never be on a show now. There are different South African tribes. Are they blacks? The Khoisan are not black. They're not Bantus. Generally speaking, the Bantu and Guni-speaking peoples are the ones who are considered black. Darn it, gotta run, says Cindy. Oh, shame, shame, shame. You're leaving from California? It's only 8:30. Where are you going at 8:30 at night on a Monday night? What's going on over there? You're welcome, Cindy. Gus Jordan says, some fellow on Facebook says, all refugees must pay their air fees back. My wife just mentioned it. Well, Gus Jordan, if you read Facebook and social media and you believe the crap you read there, that's on you. That's on you. I don't know what was said there. I've only explained this 10 billion times. The way it normally works for refugees is that you pay your airfare to come to America. If you don't have the money, then the International Organization of Migration, the IOM, a United Nations body largely funded by the United States, fronts you an interest-free loan. After you arrive in your new country, you're expected to be paying that loan back after 6 months interest-free. If you don't have the means yet, you haven't been able to make an income large enough to pay it back, then they reduce the installments or they delay it. So perhaps the person's talking about that, but I've only explained this a bazillion times. Cheap Ford's imported. The new model, you can literally bend back the chassis with 2 extensions. Khoisan are more related to Asians than Bantus. I don't know how true that is. JJT says, good morning, welcome to you. Assuming that you drink beer when in South Africa, what's the closest locally equivalent beer? I don't drink beer in South Africa. Hans Visser, if I can avoid it. Most of it's bottled urine, just like American beer. It's disgusting, it's vile, it's repulsive. I will only drink normally a craft beer or Windhoek lager. In a pinch, I'll suffer through a Windhoek drought, but Windhoek lager, yeah. So, yeah, milking Minnesota, cows don't like the heat. Cows generally don't like the heat. It's tough on them. Emerantia Dietrich gave 140 Rand super chat. Thank you for that. Chevy Camaro Z28 IROC in red. Ooh, do you have one of those? That's not my favorite thing. Good evening, Cynthia Fundameva. Morning, Sync Master. How's it going? And Jaretha Haman is back again. Chris Crew, condolences. Thank you. Yeah, that was pretty tragic, that story. They beat him so badly. But, of course, this is all being covered up. Yingling, I don't drink Yingling. No, I tried it. It's American piss water. I can stomach Sam Adams and some craft beers in America, but America made fantastic beer until Prohibition. They destroyed the brewing industry. They destroyed German entrepreneurialism in that time frame and put a lot of German businesses out. Beer halls went out of business. Choir stopped. Lots of things happened. Then the assault on Germanists, of course, that occurred around this time because of the First World War, plus the unlawful internment of 15,000 German Americans in prison for sedition. Most of them didn't commit any sedition. Just happened to be Germans. But, we only remember the Japanese who got in prison. So, and they also did the Second World War II. Flying Boar. What was the reason for the Angola War in the 70s? How they got involved? I'll talk about that in a second. So, anyway. No, I haven't listened to the audio clip, Rebecca. I was busy. Okay, guys, look, I got to tell you. So earlier today, I was going through WhatsApp messages. By the way, so this is what we do for our veterans. I get medical care at a military facility. I pay for it too, by the way. It isn't free. I have to pay insurance. Anyway, so I don't pay a lot, but I pay something. It's supposed to be free. So I need to get my hip looked at. In South Africa, people heard my call, or heard my plight, not my call, my plight. I had a physical therapist who I had an appointment with a day later. I had a chiropractor who met me on a Sunday at his house and fixed my pelvic girdle and readjusted my back. And then I had a medical massage therapist who treated the pain that I was suffering in my glute and in my bones. And I got all the treatment on short notice and at no cost because such wonderful people in South Africa are so gracious and so kind. I went to schedule a medical appointment with my GP today, my general practitioner. I have to wait until July 17th to see them. So I have to walk around on a bum hip for another 6 weeks before I can see a physician here in America. 6 more weeks after enduring this pain for months. That's how we treat our veterans. 36 years in uniform, and I have to wait 6 weeks to be seen. And what's going to happen? He's going to look at it, and he's not going to be able to do anything. He's going to refer me for an MRI. I'm going to have to waste money and petrol to drive someplace to get an MRI and pay a copay for it. Then it's going to be sent back to him. I'm going to have to wait for months for another appointment, and then I'll get called in for that appointment. And then they're going to refer me because they can't do any treatment for whatever the treatment is, whether it's surgery or hip replacement or it's whatever the case may be. And then maybe by December, I might have a reliable prognosis. While if I just stayed in South Africa, I'd already be getting world-class treatment from former Springboks physio trainers or physicians or world-renowned medical professionals. Yeah. Meanwhile, we're giving free medical care to 30 million illegals. Yeah. And this is what I get. That's what you want for your kids, says Rena. Okay. Do you know, what's this? Do you know if any people that went for interviews were not approved? Nope. Derek, I don't know anybody that was disapproved. No one's ever told me they were disapproved. Not aware of a single person being disapproved. Of course, the media lied and said that the 40 people that didn't go in the first batch were disapproved. They don't even know for a fact it was 100 people. They're just repeating what they've heard. Morning, Posthumous. Hello to you. I can't forget that very few doctors do any hand-on unless they're going to cut you. Yeah, exactly. Okay, so let me get the flying boar. Before I get the flying boar, okay, if you've lived in China as long as I have, you would also be immune to COVID, bird flu, and all. Yeah, exactly, Andre. Flying boar, I'm going to get to your super chat in a moment. Before I do that, I've just got to say the following. So I'm going through my messages earlier. I got distracted. There's 70 Rand from Garrett. Import your medical massage therapist. I think I should. She's amazing. I'd love to get a massage at least 2 days a week. It was amazing. She's very good at what she does. She even cleared my nasal passages, which were a problem because I had that flu bug starting. So I'm getting so many messages, and the messages I miss. Like I said, my WhatsApp shut down when I was in South Africa because some idiots have been passing around my phone number, and people think it's appropriate just to, to inundate people that they don't know and then beg for answers and questions and demand things of people. Well, I'm not picking on the lady, but earlier today I found a message from the 26th as I'm scrolling through looking for something else. I looked at it, there was a voice note, so I listened. This woman starts screeching at me, angry at me for removing her from the group. Why are you moving from the group? What is it? Why you only do things for rich people? You only care about people pay? I'm like, what are you talking about? Who is this? This is the sort of stuff I deal with every day. And then I've got half a dozen email addresses people writing to and demanding that I help them with programs and put them in things and this, that, and the other, and asking legal advice. Folks, I'm not an attorney. I'm not an attorney. I don't work for the U.S. government. I will answer the question as best I can, but you can't take that as legal advice. My other option is simply ignore you, but that's difficult to do. Some people are in very serious plight. But I took great offense to this, and I told the lady, I said, look, I expect an apology. I don't know what you're talking about here. I didn't take you at any groups. You know what you're talking about? She showed me a screenshot and said she was removed by an account that's not me. Chris EU. Who the heck is Chris EU? It's not me. I didn't remove her. And she said I removed her. So, I mean, it's not the first person. This is like the fifth person who told me I removed him from the group. I didn't remove anybody from a group. If you are going into my WhatsApp groups or Telegram groups to talk about refugee stuff that's not a refugee group, my moderators are removing the content. That's not the purpose of those groups. People don't want to be inundated with that nonsense. If you got a refugee question, join the Telegram group. There's room for another 218,000 people to join that group. But the refugee groups that I've created, the two that are on WhatsApp, you can't put anything in there, and they're limited to 2,125 people. Both are full. Every day I go through, and if someone's dropped off, I add the next person on the list. I add the next person on the list every single day. It's the best I can do for you folks. I'm not going to run 5,000 freaking WhatsApp groups to accommodate people. It's a lot of work. A lot of work. So yeah, anyway, so I'm getting inundated, and I'm not picking that lady, but I mean, it's just, so she was so emotional and upset, and and nearly had me in tears listening to her plight. But I really took offense from, she was desperate. That's why she struck out. But I'm the wrong person to attack. I'm not your former spouse. I'm not the person who made your life miserable. I'm not the courts in South Africa that impoverished you. I'm not the person that forced you in misery. I'm not picking this woman. This is to hundreds of people who are sending these messages. I didn't do anything to you. I promised you nothing. I never promised you a rose garden. I never promised you anything except the truth. So don't lash out at me. I mean, is this my reward for giving moments of my precious life to help people understand what's going on, to be abused like this? No. I get enough of that from the fake media. I don't need that from South Africans who are angry. And those complaining about it taking too long. I mean, it's been 3 weeks. Get a grip on reality here. But it's been 3 weeks. But I've sent it in a dozen times. Well, if you send in your statement of interest a dozen times to the American embassy, you know what they're going to eventually do? F6, 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 F6. Delete, delete, delete. Because they're going to think you're a troll. Stop sending in statements of interest. If you sent it in, you sent it in. Have the decency to be patient and wait. I'm also getting stuff about, no one cares about the poor. That's a crock of manure. Show me the other journalists that have gone to Afrikaner squatter camps. And what was my reward for going to an Afrikaner squatter camp? Why didn't you go to this one? I'm sorry. Is it my responsibility as an American to take my money to travel to South Africa to visit all the squatter camps where Afrikaners live? What about the squatter camps where coloreds live? Is that my responsibility too? Or Chatsworth where Indians live? Is that my responsibility? Soshanguve? That my responsibility? Khayelitsha, is that my responsibility? Monenberg? Come on, folks. Come on. Show me someone else that puts as much time and energy and effort and genuine concern and care for all South Africans that I do. You can't. Not even a South African. What have I done in this program? I've stood up for women's rights, for battered women and children, abused children, for the Sotho languages, for Tswana languages, for Afrikaans, for coloreds, for Indians, for farmers, for painters. And it's the abuse I get. Now, I'm not picking that woman. This has kind of set me off a little bit because hundreds of these things come all the time. You want to piss on someone's leg, go piss on someone else's leg. I don't deserve this, and it's unfair. And all you're going to do is just convince me to just ignore people at some point. I'll just start ignoring the refugee stuff. All right, flying boar. What was the reason for the Angola War in the 1970s? South Africa got off. The reason for the Angola War in the 1970s was because Angola, since the 15th century, was a Portuguese colony. There were over 800,000 Portuguese living in Angola, plus some mestizos, mixed Africans and Portuguese, a couple 100,000 of them. But 800,000 Portuguese living there when the Carnation Revolution, I think it was, in Portugal took place and the military overthrew the government in 1974. And their deal was just dump their colonies. They dumped Macau, they dumped Guinea-Bissau, Cape Verde, Mozambique, Angola. Here's your independence. And it all went sideways. 3 competing African groups were fighting for independence before that in a guerrilla war. The FNLA, the Front for the National Liberation of Angola under Holden Roberto, operating out of the Congo, getting shelter from Mobutu. And also in the northern part of Angola was the MPLA, the Movement for the Popular Liberation of Angola, communist movement under Agostinho Neto, and then the Union for the Total Independence of Angola under Jonas Savimbi, located in the southeastern portion of Angola. These 3 groups were fighting against each other. The MPLA basically destroyed the FNLA's armed capability in 1974, 75, I should say, and it was all over for them. They still existed as a political organization, but militarily they're never a threat. So basically from 75 onwards, after they wiped out the FNLA, it was UNITA and MPLA. Eventually, South Africa entered to stop communism from approaching on its doorstep because they were in control of Namibia, then Southwest Africa. And so the South African Defense Force invaded Angola in 1975 and got almost to, I think, within 30 kilometers of Maputo, the capital, when they were pulled back by their politicians. To this day, some South African soldiers and many armchair quarterbacks blame it on Henry Kissinger, saying the Americans forced the South Africans out. That's total nonsense. The South Africans made that decision on their own. They made that decision on their own. And then the MPLA survived. They went back in a couple of times, but the big offensive came in 1987, Operation Savannah and some others. They went back in there and they handed the Cubans, this is after the Cubans intervened, the Cubans sent 25,000 troops, fighter planes, advisors, combat pilots, tanks, and then the East Germans were there, the Soviets were there, and they were trying to wipe out UNITA. So SADF went in and supported UNITA, and they did joint operations together. But the South African Defense Force fought incredible battles like the Battle of Quito, Cunavale. So that's where the war in Angola came from in a nutshell. It's more complicated than that, but I think that's a quick 2-minute synopsis. Okay. Adopted dad was a refugee from Angola. He was the only one that came to South Africa. The rest went to Portugal and Brazil. That's long waiting. What's long waiting? Oh, for my medical, yeah. It's not Walter Reed. It's Carl Alberts. Doorsland, something like that's quite... the Doorsland trek has nothing to do with the Angola War. That happened in the 19th century, and there were multiple columns. People stupid enough to try to take wagons through the Kalahari, and they nearly died. Many of them did die. Just terrible poor taste. Sorry you have to deal with that. No, I go through it every day. Every day. Most people just ignore it. Thank you, CB. I do care about everyone. I do try to help everyone out. So it especially hurt my feelings when I was told I only care about rich people. And I want to be very definitive about something here right now, okay? I don't understand what this whole... I guess Afrikaners are used to being scammed by everybody. And you get something, you get nothing unless you give something. I'm not asking for anything. I am extremely grateful for the super chats, and I appreciate that people have the means to do it. Thank you. I'm especially grateful for people watching the videos because it generates ad revenue if you watch the ads, and that comes out to a lot more money than super chats these days. Thank you for that. Memberships. I only have memberships because my members in the beginning, my subscribers, demanded it. Those who've been here since the very beginning know that I was reticent to monetize my channel because I wasn't doing it to make money. I was only trying to use the channel as a means of promoting my consultancy. But I didn't make the channel to make money. That wasn't the purpose of it. You do not have to be a member of my channel. I've never asked anybody to become a member. The members are for perks for people who want the avatars. You know, like CB's got the galaxy there, which means she's been a member for over 2 years. She's been one for a member for a long time. So that's the purpose of that. And you also get custom emojis. That's the purpose of that. Sometimes special benefits like videos before anyone else gets to see it, but that's rare. Sometimes a members only chat. But I didn't do them very often because there weren't many members. You do not have to be a paying member. I do ask that you become a subscriber. Subscription costs $0, 0 cents, nothing. The only thing you have to pay for there is your data, unless you have an unlimited data plan. That's all I ask for is subscriptions. That's it. Subscriptions are free. And there's a reason for it. The bigger my audience, look how people are calling me. I was in South Africa. Everybody was calling me. Everybody wanted to interview. Everybody wanted my channel. Hey, we'd like to interview. We'd like to come on your channel. We'd like to come on your channel. Suddenly I got billionaires calling me wanting to come on the channel. Wealthy people, connected politicians want to come on the channel. Kusatu wanted to come on the channel. I got Kusatu and Sean. I have to hunt them down. In the past, I would have had to hunt them down. Why? Because I have a larger audience. The bigger the audience, the easier it is to get people. And I have a real audience. I see people with 50,000, 100,000, 200,000, 300,000 subscribers, and they get 6,000 views on a video. I will get 6,000 views, 10,000 views on a live stream with an audience a quarter, an eighth of the size of these other channels. That's true viewership. And that's why the ad revenue is piling up. So thank you for that. I'm not asking anybody to become a member. You're welcome to become a member if you have the means. But do not. I say it a million times. Don't super chat if you don't have money. Don't become a member if you can't afford it. Don't. I don't want anyone to put themselves. I would rather you put that money towards a passport, put the money towards paying your electricity, put the money towards buying nappies for your kids. That's what I prefer. Maputo's in Mozambique. Yeah, what? Did I say Maputo instead of Luanda? Did I say Maputo instead of Luanda when I was talking there, Pablo? Yeah, I missed your point. Maybe your point was that. It's possible I might have said that. Yeah, Luanda. Luanda's Angola. Did I say Maputo? Yeah. Anyway, thank you for that. Recent democracy, South Africans end up in Angola and Namibia back then. You're welcome. Hey, Sedgefield. Yannicka Rendes, welcome to you. Karen, yes, my brother was a conscript and served on the border in 76, 77. Or for scams, detriment sometimes used to being scammed. Well, I'm not scamming anybody, Vanessa. I'm not a grifter. I tell you not to pay. I'm the one telling you not to pay. We all learn from your generosity. We need to learn patience. You're doing so much for us. We appreciate it. You're welcome, Yana. Loretta says you're doing it because it's your passion. I believe your calling. Your time and effort is not going unnoticed. Well, thank you for that, Loretta. Be nice if the authorities saw it. They're not calling me. I think there's a freaking, conspiracy to keep Chris from the public view. Did you see that millionaire idiot Paul recently interviewed a previous owner of Rembrandt? He apparently spoke to a friend about it. No, I have no idea what you're talking about. You're so admired because you take into consideration everything side. Thank you for everything. Well, you're very welcome, Delana, but, I get attacked by people all the time. Oh, you're so rude to people. No, I'm not. Fun Yarsfeld, 70 Rand. You have a good heart. Well, thank you for that. I want a good heart. It means I'll live longer. Angola today, I think, is much more of U.S. ally. Yes, that's correct, Pablo Charlie. Angola is much friendly to the United States than South Africa. So if I get to it here in a little bit, I'm going to talk about Barney's stupid op-ed in which he said South Africa did nothing to harm America. What a crock. What a total propaganda nonsense. I'm just going to keep exposing these fake journalists and these media commentators in South Africa who keep lying. Rhino Girl, how's it going? Keep up the good work. You're welcome. Thank you, Erica. Erica Hinderson got approached by a Portuguese Angola refugee in California who heard my accent and tearfully thanked me for the SADF extraction. Wow. There you go. There you go, Hans Visser. Yep. Not saying you are, sir. We're just weird that way. I know, Vanessa. Hey, to all South Africans, what are we going to do about the orphans? We're going to leave them behind. What orphans, Dirk? What orphans? Thank you for all the time and effort you put in. Majority of us do appreciate it. We've come to know you as caring. Don't let them idiots. No, they're not getting me down. I'm saying that people get frustrated. I mean, I've got nasty notes from people. Why are you ignoring me? I mean, today a gentleman who'd sent me a spreadsheet which I had no time to look at, and then like an hour later, and I'm not picking on you, sent it to me an hour later or 2 hours later and said, well, gosh, if you don't want it. And I'm like, dude, I'm doing like a million things here. Plus I'm sick. Anyway, I didn't get back to him because I've been busy, but I did look at his spreadsheet. So I looked at it again today, and I think it's a good idea. It's a good effort, but people get upset. I mean, folks, I appreciate you want attention right away, but I mean, I haven't heard back from Pofu Walsh. Supposed to go on his program. It's April 16th, or sorry, it was 23rd, something like that. I haven't heard back from him. Probably never going to hear from him. You don't see me getting impatient. Paul Harris, okay. Called Staying Positive about South Africa, spoke about how immigration affected them and how good Stellenbosch is. Stellenbosch is a murder capital of South Africa. Going well, a bit hectic. 125, yeah, well, that's why I don't live in that part of the world. I already suffered through the Middle East. You can have it. I lived in Saudi Arabia. I lived in Israel. No, thank you. You can keep both. You can keep Dubai, you can keep the Emirates, you can keep Qatar, you can keep all that stuff. No, thank you. Only time I consider going there is wintertime. It's still too hot. No, thank you. Not my cup of tea, ladies and gentlemen. 302 people currently here. Thanks for tuning in, folks. Good morning, S.A. Charlie. How's it going? Well, folks seem to be doing okay, doing better than our friend's father or stepfather who was murdered on a farm. But, of course, it was a house robbery, according to the South African Police Service. Yeah, that's what it was. So, does anybody know? Let me see if I got a response. Probably not going to get one. No, she's because they were doing the show. Wow. Okay, what are we doing here? So I'm just looking to see if something came in. By the way, folks, I can confirm that South African refugees in the first batch are already receiving their Social Security numbers. Already moved into permanent accommodation, already got Social Security numbers, and already doing job interviews. There you go, folks. There you go. Less than 30 days. People arrived just 3 weeks ago, and they've already got this all underway. So there you go. There's an update on refugees. Social Security number in hand, Social Security card. Now legal, open bank account, apply for credit cards. Probably not going to get those because you have no credit history, but can open a bank account, can apply for a job. There you go. There you go. That's the first batch. Next group just came in Friday, and the ones coming in after them are coming in now. So, and the press is like, where are they at? Where are they coming from? Who are they? Ha ha! Keep guessing. Pedamon, no, thank you. Good news, and you handled that biz news interview quite well. Thank you for that, Emery. I was coughing. I didn't really see how it went. Had a hard time with that thing. So I want to thank everyone that voted for Trump. Well, you're very welcome. I voted for him 3 times. Not in the same election. This isn't Chicago. Vihan says, happy for them. Okay. Mandy's happy too. Cool beans. Hello from Texas, Colin McLean. Didn't you write to me? Did you write me an email? Someone wrote me an email. That name sounds very familiar. But answering so many emails, just keep coming. Look at this. I answered like 50 emails early, and here's another 50. Refugee program, SA refugee program, FD program. Good Lord. Regarding here, mentioned this a few times. Yeah, glucosamine. I know about glucosamine, and I know about chondroitin sulfate too. Yeah, glucosamine. Yeah, chondroitin and sulfate. I should start taking chondroitin and sulfate again, too. Guidance on H-2A visas. I mean, I get these all the time, folks. I try to answer, but I mean, I'm up to 1,900 messages on here. Now, some of those are just nonsense messages, have nothing to do with anything. Urgent humanitarian appeal, refugee assistance for my family. Guys, look, I got to tell you something here. I'm getting so many messages from people who are telling me about their economic plight. Now, I don't want to sound callous and cold, but nobody cares about your economic plight. Nobody cares. The refugee program is not an employment agency. It's for people's lives are in peril. If that hurts your feelings, then you're just too thin-skinned. I'm not saying I don't care personally. I'm saying no one cares. If you go for refugee and you don't go, I can't get a job. I'm living in a shack. I'm living in my car. I got 5 kids. Nobody cares. You're not going to get any empathy for that. We got enough welfare recipients on this side. Oh, but I work hard. Really? Then why don't you have a job? Well, because I got fired because they hired a black guy. Oh, now we're talking. You know, racial discrimination. Yeah, now we're talking. The refugee program is not an economic relief program. It's not a welfare program because you've been denied SASA money or because you didn't get a military retirement when you served in the South African Defense Force. That's not what the refugee program is for. It's also not a holiday program. Well, I think this is a way for me to go to America. I'll come back on holiday. No, it's not. It's for people's lives are in jeopardy. If you feel your life is in jeopardy or you've been unfairly discriminated against because of your race, well, then you should consider it. But if you go in for an interview and start moaning about crime, my home broken in 5 times. So what? Your neighbor's black, his house was broken in 5 times too. What's your point? That's not unjust racial discrimination unless you were targeted because you're white and you got evidence of it. If, however, you can't get a job because there's dozens of laws that prevent you from getting a job, or you've been laid off, made redundant so someone else can be promoted above you who is less qualified, or you've been denied a bursary and you're told flat out it's because you're white, or you've been attacked because you're white, well, that's a different story. You have a legitimate fear. Legitimate fear. Set up auto reply and direct people to the U.S. government resources. They won't go there, Werner. They won't go there. They won't go there. People are lazy. I don't understand. Now, look, when I wanted to go to university, I had no money. I went and researched. There was no internet. There was no mobile phones with Google in 3 seconds. I couldn't apply for refugee status in here. I could, there's none of that. I had to carry my ass to the library and read and research and look things up and then put postage stamps and envelopes and mail things off and wait patiently. It's too easy now. Yet I get so much moaning and whining from people. What about this? What about that? It doesn't get any easier. zausmc.gov. Tells you who qualifies, gives you a link, brings up a page. You don't even have to type in. You just click the button, click the button, click the button. Piece of cake. Actually, turns out it was the effers. They stole my car, says Dirk. I must have missed something you wrote before that. People are lazy and don't want to read or follow instructions. That's for damn sure. It's not a holiday. Apply for the program, get there, work your ass off, and start a new life. Yep. Okay. There's an American product, LifeWave, and X patch that South African using really good testimonies for all sorts of issues. Interesting, Karen. Herda van Leuven, welcome to you. Rakes. Now the legals are off Medicare, Medicaid. There's room for refugees. They're not. They're being pushed off, and they're crying about it. Did you see some women? I went from $4,400 in food stamps. $4,400 in food stamps. You know that my mother, with 4 kids, got $4,000 total federal assistance, not food stamps, total assistance in 1981. That's when I applied for student. 1981, $4,000 for a family of 5 as a single parent. $4,000. And this woman is getting $4,400 a month in food stamps. Look, that's $48,000, $50,000 a year. She's getting more in food stamps than many people make an entire income. Why? Who is she to get my tax dollars? This sort of abuse needs to stop. What am I supposed to do for my 6 kids? Close your legs. Take a pill. Don't have sex. Be responsible. Because you're irresponsible, I've got to pay $4,400 a month for you? No. Cut her off. Oh, the black neighbor stole your car. Okay, sorry about that, Dirk. Then it would count when university said I need a 95 pass rate because I'm white. Correct. Anime Furi, perfect example. Do you have a letter stating that? An email? Ooh, print those babies out. Carry them. Make copies of them. Take hard copies with your interview. That's a perfect example of unjust racial discrimination. You're not equal before the law. And that's exactly what Trump's talking about. That's exactly perfect example. Thank you for that. Colonel's correct. I've been looking over the Arms Export Control Act because no one is going to lecture me over it. Exactly, Holden. Yes, and the Arms Export Control Act of 1962, 64, something like that, is something that we have to learn in great depth as security assistance officers. And then, of course, there's an additional act that follows up with that. It updates 77, I think it is. But anyway, yeah, so the Arms Export Control Act. Yep. Holden, why are you researching that? You're worried about us shipping ATACMs to Ukraine? Chris Sten, hello to you. The thing of nouns. Good morning. Speaking of stolen cars, I've learned that a lot of cars that are stolen in the U.S. and Canada are put into shipping containers, which I'm not doing. I don't know if that's true. West Africa is full of third-hand cars from the Netherlands and Switzerland. Yep, I know. I lived in Liberia, and most of the cars that were sold there were third-hand cars coming from the Netherlands or Switzerland. Grew up poor long ago. My mother had hid the little food stamps we got from shame. It was the only help. My father worked, and during the time I was laid off all the time. Functions by radar. Listen, man, I still remember this. It was so embarrassing. Okay, hang on. This is the best I can do because, you know, South Africans are like Europeans. They make their money funny colors. So it was so embarrassing as a young kid to be sent to the butcher down the street and be told to pick up things. And I have to walk in and I have to hand this big orange-colored printed out food stamp that came in a coupon book that you had to tear slowly off and get it off and then give this to the merchant. Dollars are green, not orange. Everyone knew I was dirt poor and an urchin when I bought the meat at the butcher down the street. And if the orange wasn't bad enough, then we also had different denominations like the $2 that were blue. Big blue notes. Very embarrassing. Dollars are green. Nobody used credit cards. It was all cash. My mother sent me to buy the stuff with food stamps. She didn't go buy it. And then if that wasn't good enough, they had the bright red ones too. The bright red ones. Yep, the bright red ones. Very embarrassing. There was shame attached to being poor, as there should be. And people are saying, well, no, that's not right. There shouldn't be any shame. Of course there should be shame. People should be motivated not to be poor. People should have a desire not to be in perpetual welfare. People should understand their responsibility to close their legs and or use a condom or abstain rather than reproduce and have kids that you can't sustain. It's not the world's responsibility to take care of your children. That's your responsibility. But somehow that got lost and it got worse during COVID. Degree in financial management, pick and pay, won't even offer you a cashier's job because you're white. Well, there you go, hot full biker or biker. There's, well, plus the horrific things that happen to your family. So, Stella, watch the business interview. Thank you for all your time. You're welcome. Okay. Obama turned the United States into an arms bazaar and a lot of people have died already. That's true, Holden. But we've always sold weapons to our allies, friends, partners, and allies. But yes, he definitely picked up the pace. Saw the Russian Navy in the Cape waterfront yesterday, wearing Russian and South African flags pinned to the uniforms. Guessing joint name. Well, there you go. There you go. Thank you for that. I didn't know about that. Thanks for sharing that, Christoph. Anyone else sees them? If you can get photographs of the Russians in port in Cape Town, if you're there, take pictures. Tourists are allowed to take pictures. Take pictures and send them to me so we can bust the South Africans for being arrogant. Yep. The politicians, not South Africans. May I suggest all listen, Pleshy explains detail about these issues. No, he doesn't. Professor G doesn't talk about Russia and about nuclear arms and Iran. And what are you talking about? He doesn't talk about that. He talks about asylum. It's very true. I saw a video of a lot in Lagos that had 3 Acura. Okay. Well, how do you know they're stolen? How do you know they're stolen? Do you have evidence that they're stolen? Because we ship cars to Africa. I had a Toyota Camry that was from America when I was in Liberia. I bought it for $4,000. The guy had bought it for $6,000 and he needed the money. I didn't want it. And he's like, can you buy it from me? I'm like, I don't really want it. He's like, can you buy it? I said, I'm only here for so many more months. I'm not going to pay $6,000 for it. So I'll give it to you for $4,000. Sold. So, okay. Mark Dahl. How's it going? Okay. Good morning, Xavier Grayling. The WIC vouchers and food stamps are now on a card. Yeah, made it simpler. There's no shame. You just got a little card. You take the card and there you go, like a credit card. Nobody's ashamed. Nobody's embarrassed. There's no shame in being a leech on society. You know, those programs are supposed to be for people in need, people in a bind. Say some bad situation befalls you, or your home gets burned up in a fire, or an earthquake comes and swallows your house, or a sinkhole, or the floods in North Carolina. That's why those programs are supposed to exist. It's not for people to live off of that and reproduce and have kids. No, but we allow that, and shame on society for that. And temporary, that's right. No one should be getting that stuff more than 12 months. And it shouldn't even be 12 months. Steampunk, what's going on? Ray Cordier, morning to you. Torn calf muscle can take weeks and months to get better. Who's got a torn calf muscle? Okay. No free lunch. Get off. Well, there is a free lunch column. That's the problem. We've been giving free lunches out for too long. And I'm not talking about free lunches in school. I'm talking about the welfare that we've been giving out for far too long and people expecting it. And, it's utter nonsense. Lynette Taylor, hello to you. Muscle cream, CBD set. Nope, not touching CBD. Nope, that's drugs. Not touching it. So frustrated with my body. I have stage 4 cancer and missed 2 appointments for my passport due to being hospitalized. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Max. That's terrible. Good Lord. Stage 4. Hang in there, Max. Jeez. We were poor, so I had my tubes tied. Hubby and I worked hard, and now business owners and kids are grown. There you go. Generational dysfunction. You're now also WebMD. Oh, Dave Ranke has a torn calf muscle. Dave, I'm sorry to hear that. Oof, that's terrible, man. Take one picture of the sailors in the Pick and Pay. Not very clear, though. You can only see their white caps. Okay. Hand out towels in Honolulu for $15 an hour. But rent. No. No, you're not going. If you come to the refugee program, you're not going to be going to Hawaii. It's too expensive. They're not going to put you there. Yeah, Meister T's laughing because I'm using Rand to represent food stamps. Video of South African Bodiki shopping at Walmart for a brat. Says USA peeps are obsessed with faking pickles. Huh? What are faking pickles? Following you from South Africa, hoping and praying for you. Well, how you doing there, Nolene Garland? Oh, is that supposed to be effing? Steampunk? Yeah, I wasn't sure. Okay. Anyway, yeah, so... Hey, I'm going to read this again because not everybody that's here tonight was here when I read this the other night, so let me read this. Moving to my cousin's farm today because I can't work anywhere. I'm a specialized fielder as a gee, many crickets. That's terrible. All right, so we had the other day Panul make claims about the history of Africa, and he obviously doesn't know African history. This is the book, The Mosquito, The Human History of Our Deadliest Predator by Timothy Weingart, who's a historian. Even the leftists like this book. So NPR called it a highly impressive, hugely impressive major work, which it is, New York Times bestseller. But it's not political, it's just simply a statement of fact. The advent of sickle cell had immediate impacts and enduring repercussions for Africa and its people. Mosquito populations boomed with the emergence of Bantu-speaking plantain and yam farmers in West Central Africa around 8,000 before Christ. Devastating year-round falciparum malaria quickly took root. Human natural selection countered by affording Bantu peoples protection through hereditary sickle cell. As malaria spread and began to raise non-immune populations, the Bantu, armed with their immunological advantage and iron weapons, slashed south and east across Africa. The yams they cultivated also reinforced their genetic resistance to the malaria parasite. Yams release chemicals that inhibit the reproduction of falciparum malaria in the blood. During 2 large Bantu migrations between the year 5000 and 1000 BC, they drove the malaria-ridden survivors of hunter-gatherer groups with limited or no immunities, just like they claim the Europeans did to the Native Americans, with limited or no immunities like the Khoisan, the San, the Pygmy, and the Mande people to the fringes and peripheries of the continent. This land did not suit Bantu agricultural requirements, nor was it suitable for grazing their itinerant wealth in the form of cattle. The ousted Khoisan survivors found refuge on the Cape of Good Hope at the tip of Africa. The immunological fence that Balsaparm built around the Bantu repelled incursions by outsiders as effectively as a standing army, decodes malaria researcher Sonia Shah. The Bantu villagers didn't have to be bigger or stronger to beat back the nomads. A couple bites from their mosquitoes did the trick. The mosquito and the Bantu genetic adaptations to her malarial disease carved out mighty southern African empires for the Xhosa, the Shona, and the Zulu. The ecological inference by human pastoral pursuits embodied by the Bantu plotline was the key to unlocking Pandora's box, letting loose deadly plagues of gleaning and reaping mosquitoes, which wiped out hunter-gatherers and destroyed Khoisan, Pygmy, and Mande populations across eastern, central, and southern Africa, thereby giving the colonizers, known as the Nguni-speaking Bantu peoples, the immunological advantage. There's the history that they won't tell you in South African school today. That doesn't make Bantu speakers evil. That's just the history. Honolulu was a starting grapey when you started following. Well, you're not going there. Firefox, hello to you. Supposed to go to work, trip to Zimbabwe. My excuse, didn't have to miss a call. Moved with my cousin's farm. Okay, already got that. Sedgefield. Journal of Atomic Scientists published a paper for nuclear consortium in the Persian Gulf today. Okay. Busy day tomorrow, off to the sack. Good night, Beth. National Party in the past used to give you a rebate on your taxes depending on the number of kids you had. Now the ANC gives you previously advanced grant money to have kids. Yeah, it's kind of backwards. Marcel, mornings, Colonel in chat. Have a blessed day. That's interesting, says Rebecca. It is, isn't it? Watch videos by Alex Newman. Alex, I've been a guest on Alex's program. I've been to Alex's home in Florida where he interviewed me for an hour. And he published it on his site. He does the Sentinel Report. Alex Newman went to school and he was a journalist in Cape Town, briefly. Do I know if you can find this book in large print? No, I have no idea. You could probably buy it electronically from Amazon. If you have an Amazon account, or put it on a Kindle or reader and then raise the text. Yep. Mosquito is quite interesting. It is. I take it you've read it already. Yeah. No, I've had it for ages. I haven't had a chance. I carried this book to South Africa. I was intent on reading it on the plane, but I didn't get to read it on the plane either way. I never got to read the whole time in South Africa. I was working 12, 15, 18 hours every day for the entire 5 weeks I was there. I never got a chance to read it. My meet and greets went from 1 to 2 hours to 4 to 5 hours every time. It was crazy. Commentators say that once the Democrats take over from Republicans, they will revoke the Republican status. Well, those commentators are full of crap. They're so full of crap, their eyes are brown. They don't know what they're talking about, Christoph. That's why you need to quit watching this other nonsense and listen to me. The status isn't granted willy-nilly so politicians can take it away. When you're granted refugee status, it can only be revoked if you've committed fraud or if the underlying conditions in the place you came from have changed and been ameliorated. Does anybody think the ANC is getting rid of 142 racist laws? Do you think that? No. Democrats can't change it unless you defrauded somebody. If you didn't defraud anybody, they can't take it away. Simple as that. It doesn't matter what the Democrats do. You're here. Again, I don't know how many times I have to say this. Refugees never leave. Refugees never leave. 3.1 million have come here since 1980. How many have left? Almost none. Doesn't matter. Stop listening to the BS. Christoph. I just don't understand how people go on social media and listen to bullshit artists who don't know who are these? And these commentators. Let me ask you this question, folks. Let me ask this question. Joel Pollack? Alex Newman? This other guy, whatever the guy's name was, someone mentioned today? Angela Rose? Did any of these people make any videos about South Africa a year ago? 6 months ago? No. No. They don't know what they're talking about. Tucker Carlson doesn't know what he's talking about. They're just people who glom onto a topic and they're trying to take advantage of the newsworthy topic to advance their subscriber base or generate revenue or to get attention or to become famous. They're not experts. They know what they're talking about. I chuckle that you actually listen to these people. It's hilarious. It's absolutely hilarious. Also, I notice here, not just other commentators are stealing my analysis and presenting it as their own, and you're all falling for it like, oh, these guys are so smart. Wow, look at these guys. It's not just them, it's politicians. John Steenhuisen is stealing my crib notes now. Did you see his op-ed? He published an op-ed. And what is he talking about? The lack of South African agricultural extension agents. Who has been talking about that the entire time they've been on air? Me. When I talk about how giving land to black South Africans has failed in the agricultural sector by and large because there is no credit extended. There's no grants. There's no training. There's no extension agents to help these people. And how do I know about extension agents? Because I was a farmer. I was in 4-H. And 4-H clubs get assistance from the extension agents. We work directly with them. They help 4-H clubs around Ohio anyway. I've been saying never heard John Steenhuisen once talk about extension agents. Now he's writing op-eds talking about extension agents. Where did he get that from? From me. From me. Wow. And you all just keep going, listen to all these other people, don't know what they're talking about. That's your prerogative. But then people come here, Chris, you should watch this guy. You should watch this guy. Why? That guy never said anything about South Africa 6 months ago, 3 months ago, 5 months ago, a year ago. Why would I listen to those people? Asylum seekers who've lost their case, which is 97% of applicants. That's who's being deported. Why are you talking about more? Should somebody say something about refugees being deported? There's a group in South Africa WhatsApp that helps with the questions regards refugees. Yeah, and those groups started with me, Chris. You talking about the Amerikaners? That's not me. That's something else. No water, says Johan. Yes, Max. Normally you pay your own flight. If you don't have the money, then they do it. They do the IOM. Thanks for calling out a lot of misinformation. Yeah, exactly. No, thanks for asking, Christoph. There's a lot of misinformation out there. And I get people, coming in sending me messages of all the misinformation they're getting. At some point, it just becomes frustrating. Yeah, Tucker Carlson used to wear a bow tie when he was on CNN. Look, I'm not attacking Tucker Carlson. Tucker Carlson is the guy that exposed COVID. When the world was navel-gazing at a potential second impeachment for Trump in January of 2021. No. 2020, yeah, 2020. In January 2020, when they were talking about a second impeachment for Trump, Tucker Carlson was telling people about a disease outbreak in China that the government was covering up that could affect America. It could be deadly. It could be one of the greatest pathogen in years. And he was right. I remember that first week of January 2020, Tucker Carlson told the world about it. I was still watching Fox a little bit back then. Yeah. Accurate Brick Innovation says, does anyone remember they're eating the dogs, eating the pets? Yes, I do. I remember. It's funny. Yes, a lot of Haitians practice voodoo. Trump canceled identity status and these people are being sent back. Camera deal. Well, Werner Kasselman, those are criminal alien invaders who were illegally entering the country, and Biden gave them temporary protected status, which is illegal. He violated federal immigration law to let them stay here. And then illegally, while they applied for asylum illegitimately, because you can only apply for asylum if you're legally in America, they illegally let these criminals in the country by violating our sovereignty, then protected them, and then illegally gave them the right to work. You can't work as an asylum seeker. No white employees at our pick and pay. 2 white managers. Virtually blind white man packing bags. I asked the same piece of excuse, how do I get home? Huh. Yes, 4 million hectares still held by the government, the land have taken. Ian Moon, welcome to you. Well, Jamie Dimon, despite being the world's best banker, is not the world's smartest man. Jamie Dimon has predicted this nonsense for years and it hasn't panned out. So, I once was a great believer in Jamie Dimon, but he sold America out a long time ago. No, only saying that refugees won't be deported because they're vetted before entering the U.S. Exactly. You're correct, Mush. Well, that wasn't clear from your message. That's why I'm asking. Well, the people who come across the border and apply for asylum, it's illegitimate. The way the law works is someone illegally across the border, they're not allowed to apply for asylum. They're not legally here. Therefore, they're deported immediately. But that's not what's been happening. So SHR, come to me to get the facts. Yep. Which other news outlet tells the truth? Well, some tell the truth, but they just don't know what's going on. I think Tucker Carlson tells the truth, but I don't think he knows what's going on all the time. Everyone's on the bandwagon, bug out. That's exactly right. They're all on the bandwagon. They're all going to South Africa. All these people got lots of money flying over there going to South Africa. I didn't have any money. I took money out of my savings for my trip in 2022 because people asked me to come to South Africa. And suddenly they're all experts. They all know all about it. Colonel, the only person I listen to now is you and sometimes Ronaldo. CBC keeps on sending email to paid license. Tell them to go screw themselves. Website Project 2010 is more than 2,000 reported killings of black on white. I'm not sure what that's about. Tucker also used his platform to put the issue of farm murders on a global platform. That's not accurate, Christoph. Tucker talked about farm murders with Answer in 2017, 2018, late 2017, and Trump tweeted once. He didn't start tweeting. He tweeted once, and that was the end of it. And people got all excited. And I said, don't get excited. Nothing's going to happen. And I was correct. Nothing happened. Sukama, welcome to you. Thank you. The Ronaldo conversation, what do you think about the history told there? I didn't watch it. I don't mean to offend anyone, but I'm not sure how accurate the info was. Nota was telling. I don't know, Raina. I didn't see it. Did you see my interview with Nota? Yes, I talked about the NB181, whatever the strain is called. So relating to the farms in South Africa, one of the farmers said that they will sprinkle stuff on the AK-47s before they conduct an assault. What does that have to do with anything? Oh, African voodoo, gotcha. They want any assets you own during apartheid by whites that get sold now to be taxed extra because you gained it through black labor. That's nonsense, Charlotte. That's EFF talking. Could you imagine having to suck up Jeff Zuckerberg dressed in a bow tie? Jeff Zucker from NBC. I hear there are new quotes for many occupations. For example, 70,000 white men teachers will be losing their jobs. Yeah, that's true. That's the newspapers reporting that. Sandra Yonk says, we always tell people if they want to know about the program or any other news to watch your channel. You always tell the truth and show. Well, thank you for that, Sandra. I appreciate that. Jamie Dimon's bank was Jeffrey Epstein's bank. I didn't know that. Well, I have JP Morgan, so I don't want to tell you about that. I also have stock in JP Morgan. But I started investing in Bank One, which is really who JP Morgan is. They bought JP Morgan. Bank One that bought first Chicago, and they moved their headquarters from Columbus, Ohio to Chicago in the 1990s. And then they bought JP Morgan and moved their headquarters to New York. So it's really Bank One. I've had shares in it since it was Bank One. They used to pay a 10% stock dividend every year. It was awesome. So if you had 100 shares, you got 10 more. Had a weird day at work. I celebrated conservative new president only to find out my Polish colleagues voted left. I don't think people realize how big a gift we've been given to Trump and then complain about having to wait to be contacted. Exactly, Lynette. 50 past. Okay, I don't know what you're saying there. I see there is another guy that covers war zones now here in South Africa, reporting G-side. Yeah, that's the guy, more Chuck Stamen. Never covered South Africa. People are telling me I should go check him out. Chuck Holton. Never heard of him. He's in South Africa trying to get attention. Never heard of him. Someone said I should watch his content. Why? What am I going to learn about South Africa from him? Christoph says, I would not say that Trump's first tweet didn't have a strong ripple effect. No, it didn't. It didn't shift the over a bit, maybe, and it shifted right back. It was in 2018. And things have only gotten worse since 2018. I don't agree with your assessment. Ian says, you've been a jet setter. What the heck do you do yourself on a 20-hour flight? Well, it's not easy, especially with my hip. I wind up standing in the back of the plane a fair amount, although I've been paying a fortune for extra legroom the past few flights just because I just can't handle it. I try to read. I take a little cat nap here and there. I interact with the flight attendants. Yeah, it sucks. It really sucks flying for 14 to 17 hours. But I mean, I've been doing it for 40 plus years. I mean, when I was in Africa, I had to fly back and forth to Europe all the time, go to my headquarters, go to conferences, things like that. And then I also flew from the States to Africa and Africa to States. So yeah. You're not missing much on Chuck. He only walks in fancy neighborhoods talking about fencing, and his video quality is very bad. Okay, I didn't know that. Jamie Dimon is a club we aren't part of. You are correct about that. Is it true rumors that Absa Bank and one other are closing down? I don't know. Loretta. I haven't heard about that. Has anyone noticed Iran strengthening? No, I hadn't noticed it. It's just, it's hubris before the fall. Can't sleep, I'm told that I snore and talk in my sleep. Well, that's terrible. Got it in 2003, so wish the best with everyone, the potential moves to the USA. Hey, Saxon. Jamie Dimon wants to be future president. He's not going to be president of the United States. No, that ain't going to happen. South Coast is not KZN, Rwanda Kalk. That's the East Coast of South Africa. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Look, I'm not trying to trash these other commentators. Look, I mean, I said it before. We've had this conversation. I mean, a lot of people are just Johnny-come-latelys trying to glom onto the news thing, and that's where the attention is, just like they do with Ukraine. I was reporting Ukraine a full year before the conflict started. Go back, watch the videos. I talked about a full year before it started, predicting there was going to be a problem. And then when the war started, suddenly everybody was an expert in it. Everybody's an expert in Ukraine. That's why I just quit reporting on it, because I wasn't getting any traction, nobody paying attention. My analysis was accurate. It was genuine, and but people didn't want that. They wanted something else, so I quit covering it for the most part. But I mean, look, with the situation in South Africa, if Tucker wants to cover it, if Alex Jones wants to cover it, if Joel Pollack wants to cover it, if Patrick Ben David and Laura Logan want to cover it, fantastic. She's South African, so that's great. Great, cover it. Alex Newman, fantastic. John B. Wells, fantastic. The more people talk about it, the longer it stays in the limelight, the more pressure comes on the South African government to change their ways. Yep. So I actually don't have a problem with it. It's a rising tide lifts all boats. But it is funny how I'm not getting invitations to any of these programs, even when I know influential people have suggested that they talk to me. So it's now Tuesday, and I haven't heard back from people I wrote to on Friday who were supposedly going to have me on their program. And it's been 2 weeks since Angela Rose wrote to me and asked me to come on a program, and I still haven't heard back from her. And quite frankly, I'm sorry, but it's just becoming a bit rude. You asked me to come on your program, and I'm not going to chase after you. You asked me. Obviously, you didn't want me. I don't know why you contacted me. In fact, let me go back and look at the history of that chat. Michelle Krause is the one who told me that she was interested. She said, yes, that would be wonderful. I'm YouTube with 229,000 followers. And that was on May 19th. And then she told me she'd be in Gauteng. She sent me a link to a video she made. And then on the 23rd, I said, are you back? 24th, she says, not anymore. She's back in the States. And I said, do you want to still be on? She said, yes, that would be great, on May 25th. So it's now June 3rd. I've not heard back from her. So, look, I mean, I'm not trying to trash the person, but you asked me to come on your program. I reached out. I'm not going to chase after interviews. I don't need to do interviews. I'm not getting paid for them. Colonel's the only subject worth listening to, and no one can rival his knowledge. Thank you, Sloth Puppy. Very kind of you. Interesting theory. My husband asked if Trump doesn't walk. Oh, yeah. Yeah, if he doesn't walk you out of the meeting, you know the meeting is worthless. That's a fair point. If Trump walks out with you and has a smile on his face, you know it went well. But if you just go out on your own, you know it went poorly. I'm glad you earn a living from Twitch, Steampunk. I don't even mess around with it. It's 2 left. Cannot do long flights anymore. Yeah, I got you. Functions. Trunk extremely generous. Thank you, Mr. President. You give us all hope. Thank you, Colonel, for keeping us informed. I do appreciate it. You're welcome. Thank you for not using those just now or 5 minutes ago. Type off thumbnails in your videos. Huh? What does that mean? Thank you for not using those just now or 5 minutes ago. Type off thumbnails. I don't understand what that means. Betty, they've been asked before, but I've been binging your videos, but I'm a bit unclear on the below question. Okay, I'll look for your question below. Do you think the woke agenda will come to an end? No, it'll always be there. Bright saw these wannabes maybe provide you with a bunch of fact-check rebuttals. Yeah, well, that's happening. Max Murray, hey. Oh, here comes your question. I gave up on flying when they banned the smoking section. When I flew a lot to different countries, some flight suits are really uncomfortable. I invested in cycling, padding, underwear. Interesting. With all the people who applied to get the chance for an interview, or is it a roll the dice so they pick an interview? They have an obligation to interview anybody who applies who's a legitimate applicant. So my answer would be that if they get an application, they're going to interview people. I can't say that unequivocally, but that'd be my expectation. Having worked in embassies, having dealt with consular sections, that's my expectation. The Truth Channel, the media here, still posting about white South Africans leaving. Yeah, using the first group's picture. They don't even know who's in the second group. I know who's in the second group. They don't know. And I know where they're at. They don't know. And I won't tell them because they're just frauds. You're welcome, Betty. Don't worry about going out of the channels because your channel is growing and it's all your own effort. Be proud of that. Well, thank you, Mosh, but it's growing slowly now. We are... I mean, look, I want to get a haircut. I need a haircut, but I'm not getting a haircut until I hit 100,000. And we're not there. We're still 451 away. 451 away from that 100,000 is becoming quite elusive. It's already the 3rd of June, and we haven't gotten there. I want to get there by May 31st. If we had 250,000 subscribers, that'd be great. Why isn't GOP packing the courts to stop? Well, you can only pack a court. Which courts are you talking about? Most of the courts are one-off judge appointments, district court judge, that sort of circuit court judges. You appoint them when vacancies become available. So if people don't leave or die, then you can't do it. It doesn't make sense that the rand is increasing. The banks are manipulating. I think so too. Left me when they load YouTube videos, they use stupid thumbnail images in their video. Oh, gotcha. Gotcha, Henry. Okay, yeah, I don't know what that is. Still can't believe CR walked in there with the red tie and the arrogant way he sat, slouched down, so arrogant. Well, and interrupting Trump. I'll take this question. No, you don't. You're not part of our household, Chris. Kids will come into the lounge while I'm watching your live stream and say, Uncle Chris is back. Well, hi to the kids, Lynette. Hi to them. You're almost 1,000 views. I asked Blaze TV to bring as a commentator. What do you mean 1,000 views? I don't understand what you mean by that. What do you mean by 1,000 views, Myra? Blaze TV, I'd love to be on Blaze TV, but I haven't heard from them yet. So news is like Google. You need to sift through all the BS. Yep. I take my pain pill right before boarding a flight. Still cannot do more than 3 hours. I'm a good passenger, though, because I sleep for most of the flight. Do we submit again? No. You don't get rolling. You don't be submitting multiple times. You keep submitting your statement of interest. All you're going to do is piss them off, and they'll probably delete it. Just don't. I mean, do you think that's? Think about that for a second. Think about that for a second. You submit a statement of interest. You're impatient. 2 days later, submit a statement of interest. A week later, submit a statement of interest. They've got tens of thousands to go through. Do you think they're going to be looking favorably if your email address pops up 15 times? No, it's not smart. Do not resubmit your statement of interest. Do not resubmit your statement of interest. Are you possibly planning to do a follow-up interview with some of the first? Yes, I am. In fact, Thea and I talked about it today. We chatted earlier today, and she seems inclined to want to do a follow-up maybe this weekend or later this week to let people know how things are going. Yep. Woke is waning. Identity politics has all the leftists at each other's throats. Yes, but it's not gone light rain. It's still there. Look at this boy in California stealing medals from girls. In California, instead of fixing it, they give the boy the medals that he didn't win for competing in girls' sports, and then the girls also get medals. It's stupid. Writing a book about your lifetime. Antoinette Coronia. Yeah, I've thought about it. I've written some things. I wrote a sci-fi thing once, and I've written some other things. Yeah, it takes a lot of time. So we'll see. Another interview with Refugee will make your numbers jump big. No, it won't. No, it won't. The last one only got 40,000. Now, another interview with Refugee is not going to do anything. It's weird what goes and what doesn't. So my big warnings for South African refugees, that's got 120,000 views. But I'm not even happy with 120,000 views, folks. Not to be greedy, but I mean, I've had a 500,000 view video now, and I've had several 200,000. So the sign for me that a video's done okay, is 100,000. The video's done well is 200,000, and anything above that's outstanding. Used to be, I was happy with 25 or 50,000, but yeah. So anyway, but but a lot of my videos just aren't catching on, so that's fine. But I mean, it's not a bad problem to have. When you only have 10,000 views on a video and you're not happy, that means your channel's been doing well. Thank you, Rolene Munz. Why the secrecy set group that went to USA? Why do you ask premeditated history? Why do you want to know? Do you think you have a right to know? Why the secrecy? Seriously? That's a legitimate question. Did you not see how people's lives were destroyed? How their family, they're still back in South Africa, had their lives threatened, have received death threats. Their properties can't be sold now. They're worth nothing. They've been trashed in the media. They've been called grifters. They've been called, people. They've been accused of abandoning family members. And you're asking why there's secrecy with the second group? Honestly, have you been paying attention to what's going on? Premeditated history. Why the secrecy? It's self-evident. Supreme Court is not the same as a circuit court judge. It's not the same as a federal district judge. Not the same. That's a body. That's a body. And we've come down to settle that it's 9. It's been 9 for a long time. Yes, the BE legislation in September is pretty scary. Thank you, Rolling. Laughed so much when Trump came for him. Trump does not get mad. He gets even. Yeah. Yes, Karen Long, that's right. When the interest rate drops, you don't make any money, because if you're living off savings interest, then you're getting nothing. Yeah, Cyril said Trump must listen. You must see what's going on here now. Home Affairs is actually stonewalling people from getting their passports. Awesome to hear that Thea will be on your broadcast again. So glad she's much safer now. If you can remember your old passwords, let's use old accounts. Secrecy is important. They're vindictive leftists in the U.S. too. Exactly. Well, look what happens. So you get the BBC. First off, the BBC does an interview with Charles. Charles does the interview, and in Buffalo, he knows my channel. Didn't offer an interview with me. Then he offered an interview with me. Then he went and did other interviews, and so he's never been on here. But anyway, Charles did an interview with BBC. BBC lied. They said this is the first interview with the South African refugee. That's a lie. I had the first interview. It was done before people even left South Africa. And then I held on to it until they landed safely in America, because I'm not an irresponsible journalist like the BBC. They lied, number one. Number two, they tried to rubbish him. Oh, he's an anti-Semite, and he gave up a 5-bedroom mansion to live in a 2-star motel. What a bunch of idiots. So, why would you tell people about this? It's nobody's business. If they want to share, they can share. Home Affairs have made all the white people wait literally all day. Wow. If others are copying your ideas, the ultimate form of flattery, and they're learning from your experience, but they should be ethical. Well, they're not ethical, Shannon Edwards. They're not ethical. That's the problem. I credit people. When I get an idea from someone, I tell you where it came from. If it's not my original idea, I tell you. If I'm analyzing someone else's thoughts, I tell you. No, it's like, like plagiarism. It's unethical, but people do it all the time. They deserve the privacy, exactly. My partner is jealous of you. Says I spent too much time with you on your channel. Well, Urban Homestead, are you a guy or gal? Just saw your blog on South Africans returning, being badly treated, and being overcharged on baggage. Cooking the weight. Yep. Yeah, use Home Affairs as an example. Persecution. Exactly right. I don't know the USA law, but could Trump pass a bill to make him run? No, he can't. He can't. The Constitution must be overturned. There's an amendment. 22nd Amendment to the United States Constitution prohibits someone from serving more than 2 terms as president. You have to change the Constitution. In order to change the Constitution, 3/4 of the House and Senate or is it two? Yeah, it has to approve it. The president has to sign it. Then it has to go to the states, and 75% of state legislatures, 38 legislators, must approve it within the time frame given, typically 10 years to approve the amendment. So there's no way that an amendment gets approved for Trump. The only time something like that happens, like with 13th Amendment, which was approved right after the Civil War and was signed on December 6th of 1865, it became the law of the land when 3/4 of legislatures approved it, the ones that weren't in rebellion. Apply for my passport. Next available booking is 30 June. Well, that's cool. Here's a tip. Don't spend money to watch movies in theaters. Last time I flew south, I spent 26 hours watching all the movies I needed to catch up on. It's way better that refugee groups go without any fanfare. Yep. Passport expires in beginning 2027. Is there a need to renew now? Well, not if you're getting out before then, Loretta. Then you have to, once you're in America, you just have to go through the South African embassy, their consular services in D.C. or wherever they have a consulate to get yourself a new one. Would the South Africans that went over have dual citizenship? No, Lou, because they're not Americans. They're not Americans. You're being allowed to live in America. It doesn't make you an American. You can't become an American as a refugee. You have to live here, follow our laws. You have to apply for permanent residency within 12 months of arrival, or you'll be sent back. And then you have to be here 5 years before you can be qualified to even apply for citizenship. So no, they don't have dual citizenship. No one demanded anything about all the millions of illegals, and they're taking American lives. Yeah, so why worry about vetted people? Well, because their argument is you're not vetted. They try to lie about that. Ann Churchill, thank you for your subscription. Narina, welcome to you. Can your parents get an unabridged on your behalf, even if you're an adult? I have no idea, Anna Marie. I don't know home affairs. I don't know the answers for that. Yes, BBC is total crap. Hey, Tarika, what's going on? I think Vance could be a good president, but I don't know. We'll see. The only way Trump will get 3/4 if he starts wearing a dress. Huh? I don't know. In general, it's better to practice loyal verse set without broadcasting it. Huh? Foot and mouth. Well, yeah, foot and mouth disease has been spreading for years. Every politician from Julius Malema to John Steenhuisen has foot and mouth disease. Yeah, they all have foot and mouth disease. They all have foot and mouth disease. What do you think of that one? All right. South African astronomers are now jumping into the bandwagon trying to rubbish Starlink. Worried about Starlink. Not worried about the Chinese putting satellites up or the Chinese shooting missiles into space and blowing up satellites and putting hundreds of thousands of pieces of space debris and junk in orbit. Idiots. They don't complain about that, but they're worried about Starlink putting up satellites. Such frauds. Such total frauds. Astronomers working in South Africa's SK satellite are pushing authorities to ensure that any licensing agreement with Elon Musk's Starlink will protect their groundbreaking observations. Attaching astronomy link licensing conditions may further complicate attempts to introduce Starlink to the country. Scientists fear South Africa's Square Kilometre Array, the world's most powerful radio telescope, together with another array co-hosted in Australia, will have their sensitive space observations stored by Starlink's low-orbiting satellites. Hey, morons. The satellites are already in orbit, you dipshits. The satellites are already there. Elon Musk is not going to deploy more satellites. This is how stupid and propagandistic these idiots are. This is all propaganda to stop Starlink. The satellites that would provide services to South Africa are already in orbit. Oh, dear God. Stupid is as stupid does. I swear to goodness. I swear to goodness. It's unbelievable. Stupid, stupid, stupid. Hey, folks, South Africa, country 63 million, which tends to be a modern country, has, get this, one driver license machine, which was broken for 2 years. One driver license machine. There's only one machine in the entire country that can produce a driver's license. Yet I can go to hundreds of commercial facilities in Pennsylvania and be issued a driver's license that is biometric and will pass as real ID. There's my driver's license, Pennsylvania, right there. Right there. Right there, folks. There it is right there. Yep, there it is. I can get that in less than 20 minutes. Less than 20 minutes in Pennsylvania. And it costs $25. But South Africa has one machine for 63 million people. One machine. Driver's license printing machine fixed, but not the driver's license printing machines, the machine. But there's huge backlog. Yeah. So millions have been spent on repairing and maintaining the driver licensing card printing machine. The Department of Transport announced earlier this month that the driving license printing machine was fixed and operations have resumed. The machine has been inoperative since February 5th, resulting in a backlog of 747,748 unprinted cards. Wow. Wow. One driver's license printing machine. Ah, but the land of milk and honey, Barney Mbabata and all the others, Peter Bruce, all the people talking about how wonderful South Africa is. John Steenhuisen, Cyril Ramaphosa, how wonderful South Africa is. We're on the cusp of greatness, South Africa. You have one freaking machine to make driver's license. There are more driver's license printing machines within an hour drive of me than the entire country of South Africa. Within a half hour of me. There's one up here 15 minutes away, and I go on the other side of the river. That's where the headquarters for the state is, the Department of Transportation. There's one right there. I go south down here towards York, 20 minutes away. There's another one. I go to Gettysburg. There's another one. I go to Carlisle. There's another one. All within a half hour where I'm at. There's one in all of South Africa. Yeah, they were going to ship that machine to Germany. That's right, because the Germans made it. Question about birth certificates needs to be looked up. Why was such a question be asked? Well, this Leslie Ann Moon, to be fair, this isn't a news program. It's the Night Owl. So if you're going to ask questions, this would be the time to ask it, actually. You should consult the Department of Transport. They're corrupt. Yep. They only have one machine because they're idiots. The printer broke down again in February. No new printer because they were caught funny stuff and corruption. So no new printers. Yep. Starlink satellites are designed to fall out of orbit and not contribute to space junk. They have short lifespans. That's true, Light Rain, but that's not what I'm talking about. I was talking about the fact that they're already in space. Yes, Colin, really, just one machine. One machine for the entire country. Lies about trying to fix because they make money with all the temporary license. Well, it's trick in the book. They cry when they need the tech to do the job. It doesn't maintain it because the thing lasts forever. Breaks down, no money for new ones. Yeah, because they steal in the meantime. Yep. One machine, and people buy a legal driver's license. It's actually easy to say those big numbers. Yeah, exactly. One. Hope you're managing. Thinking of your bottom of my heart. Always love from Bolito. Hey, Nicola. All hail the one machine. That's right. Terrible things are happening in South Africa. Indeed. 3 weeks ago, the lady said the machine is on the ship to be fixed, then laughed and said she hopes the ship does not sink. On the cusp, more like on the brink. Driver's license machine is going to break down again. Yeah, of course it will. I went for my renewal driver's license February 20th and still did not have it. Temporary license expiring August 25th. South Africa will have a conference to discuss the printing machine first, then take input from the community first, then 5 years later they'll put out a tender, which will go to a BE company, and then they'll take the money and not produce the machine. South Africa driver's license joke, forced to pay additional charge for temps, only valid for 3 months. They're waiting since January. 8 hours in home affairs. That's insane. 40,000 population. My town, we have 3 places in town. My county, a lot. My state, thousands. Exactly, Tina. Exactly right. Apart from main reason waiting to flee, it would be great to be in a country where everything still works. Yep. My mom is waiting for a new driver's license since November. Temp expired. Traffic also gave her a fine because the temp was expired. What a crock. If you have expired car license in South Africa, when you get to USA, you just apply. You'll have to take the driving test again. Michael Fernandez. It's not a big deal. Scared of Starlink. They'll try and destroy it once. Yeah, exactly. Interesting. We put a man on the moon with less computing power than we carry in our pockets, and they have one effing machine. Spot on, Colin McLean. That's exactly what's going on. We will not solve the driver's license machine unless we spend $3 billion on a commission of inquiry. Well, I think the reason South Africa only has one driver's license machine is because of apartheid. It's because of apartheid and because white people are racist. Didn't you know that? That's why. That's why there's only one driver license printing machine in all of South Africa, because of Hendrik Verwoerd, Jan van der Riebeck, Henry Kissinger, white people, the National Party. That's why, folks. Don't you know that? Don't you know that? Let's be honest. It's because white people are unwilling to commit to transformation. They like their privilege and they're just really angry. And that's why there's only one machine. I mean, we've cracked the code here, folks. We now can confirm unequivocally that the reason that South Africa, a country of 63 million people in the 21st century, only has one driver's license machine is directly attributable, as Panul said, to those rich white supremacist racists who ensured that there's only one machine. Yes, that's what it is, folks. It is. That's it right there. That's why this here, which used to be an awful lot of money, 200 Rand. When I lived in Botswana, do you know how much money this was? This was 5 Rand to the dollar. This used to be $40. Do you know what this is now? Just over $10. That's in 15 years. From $40 to $15. I used to be able to fill up my petrol tank with that. Now it takes that, and that, and that, and that, and that, and a couple of these to fill up my petrol tank. 1,200 Rand. It used to take just 180 Rand to fill up my petrol tank. This is South Africa under the ANC. This is ANC governance. This is racial transformation. This is black economic empowerment. This is South Africa. Folks, this is your brain on drugs, if you believe that BE is a good thing. It's a racist policy meant to impoverish everyone except the wealthy connected. Suffer load shedding there. What is this? Townships that did not get load shedding and they get electricity free. Saw a few American TikTokers. They talk about how we don't know what's in store for us and the U.S. government does not give grants and free housing. Well, they don't know what they're talking about. See, these are morons. These folks. Okay, look, I'm going to show this now because I bet some of you haven't seen this because it hasn't got many views. I published this video earlier today. It has got very few views. Very disappointed. So only 10,000 views. So I'm going to play this video now. Okay. I'm going to play this video now. And I'm going to sit here and watch. I'm going to pause it occasionally as I go along. So online lies uncovered. How propaganda tricks people online. South African TikToker fabricates a refugee story. Hello, folks. Welcome back. It's Chris in Central Pennsylvania. You know, social media can be wonderful. It can close gaps and bring people together. It can collapse distances and help people respond to crises. It can really be wonderful. But garbage in, garbage out. And the case I'm going to talk about right now is pure propaganda. Now, I don't know if the guy is uninformed, stupid, or just a racist, or a paid propagandist. But this is a social media influencer on TikTok who's spreading complete falsehoods. And we need to talk about this because it shows you just how stupid things can be on social media. So Cesar, 2196, with 290,000 followers on TikTok, runs a video in which he makes the most outlandish claims. The video that I'm talking about here is in the bottom right-hand side, just below me. That's the one where he talks about South African refugees who fled to America only to murder each other. It's pure propaganda and lies. Just total lies, which are just total BS. Let's listen into this.
So guys, it is reported that one of the Afrikaners couples that went to America, remember a couple of weeks ago.
No Afrikaners went to America and murdered each other. This guy's a liar.
The Afrikaners took a flight to America. One of the couples that went to America, the husband unalived the wife.
So the refugees who came to America a couple weeks ago, one of them has killed his wife, according to this fraud, bogus story. But it's simply untrue, folks. It's simply untrue. That is not what happened. It has nothing to do with refugees. So is he stupid, dishonest, or just a racist when he sees white people, he assumes they're refugees, and colored people because she appears to be colored. But this is utter nonsense, folks. This story is bogus. So let me tell you about this story. Kim Town was in love, her brother Jason White said. Then she found out she was pregnant in Dubai, Having a child outside of marriage is a big issue. So she and her fiance got married in December of 2021. There was no refugee program in December 2021. Donald Trump wasn't even president in December 2021. After the wedding, the couple relocated to South Africa, first settling in Milnerton before moving to Gordons Bay, where their baby turned 3 months old. Alex returned to the United States, where apparently he's a citizen, to secure Kim's visa, which would allow her to move and join him there in 2022. There was no refugee program. These people aren't refugees. He's an American. So the IOL actually reported the story correctly, and I pulled up a news report from Fox News in Virginia and also another news report from South Africa, which clearly indicate that these people moved to America in 2022. Donald Trump announced the refugee resettlement program on the 7th of February, 2025, 3 years later. And this guy is trying to, and people are falling for it. 60,000 people watched it. He has 290,000 subscribers. This is insane. She's a South African. She married him. And then domestic violence, he murdered her. And this guy is just totally making up lies.
I'm asking myself, why did these guys run away from South Africa and went to America and start analyzing themselves there in America?
And I'm asking myself why this guy's lying and telling propaganda stories. These people weren't refugees. This guy is not an Afrikaner. He's an American. And she is a South African. He came back and got her visa. And then she came over to live in America 2 years before there was a refugee program. 2.5 years, actually. So what is this guy spewing? I'm asking myself why people like this lie. Is this racial hatred or just stupidity? You tell me.
And the lava, behlangano le push propaganda which there's white genocide in South Africa.
So he goes on about this propaganda about white genocide. No one's talking about genocide. Once again, a leftist, this clown is talking about genocide. He's the one talking about it. And he's talking about the propaganda of white genocide. Yeah, that's your spewing. This has nothing to do with refugees. You're just telling fairy tales, buddy.
So if there's terrible things happening in South Africa, these people run away from South Africa and start analyzing themselves when they are on the other side.
If there's terrible things happening in South Africa, these people run away from South Africa. Well, that's not what happened, Rocco. They moved to the United States years ago. He's an American. They met in Dubai. He knocked her up. They moved to South Africa, got married. Then he went to America. She came. Not refugees. Total fiction. Total liar. This guy has 290,000 people following him on TikTok, and he tells lies like this. And by the way, ladies and gentlemen, you don't have to trust me. This is in the Independent Online. A leftist publication actually reported the facts.
I don't know what Donald Trump, what is he going to say about this?
Donald Trump isn't going to say anything about a domestic violence case in America that has nothing to do with the federal government. He has nothing. Donald Trump has nothing to say about this. There are murders that occur in the United States every day. Trump has nothing to say about it. There are 26,000 murders that occur in South Africa every year. I almost never hear Ramaphosa say anything about any murder, black, white, or brown. So stop with your horse manure and lying and misleading people.
The way I analyze the wife ngakhona bathi strangelile hamile. Can you imagine? And then they say Tina la South Africa is Tina South Africa.
Asas. And so once again, he resorts to his propaganda here. He first talks about how horrible she was murdered. She was strangled to death. That is horrible. That's horrible. And he's going to spend the rest of his natural life in jail, if not get the death penalty. I don't know what the situation in Virginia if they have the death penalty. But what does that have to do with white genocide? Nothing. You see the lies that these black supremacists tell to mislead people and lie about everything? It's pathetic. It's pathetic. And he thinks that's so horrible being choked to death. I agree. But the elderly wheelchair-bound farmer who was restrained and beaten savagely with an antique iron also died a pretty horrible death in Brits this morning. Shame on you. You're a propagandist. And if TikTok allows you to publish this crap, pure lies, shame on TikTok. Now you know why I don't put videos on TikTok anymore. Sorry, folks, but this one's demonstrably false and easily to prove. Read the story from the IOL. They're not refugees. Nothing to do with his fantasy of white genocide. This is a black supremacist, white leftist media fiction of white genocide. But the murder and the racial targeting of white South Africans is legitimate and true. And he seeks to deny it by telling fairy tales that have nothing to do with anything to do with the refugee program. What say you, South Africa? What say you, Mzansi? Sick of this stuff. Yeah, so there you go, folks. I mean, it's pathetic. It's absolutely pathetic. But that's what's going on here. I mean, that's what's going on. So that's the same thing that's happening in the media and by politicians. They lie. And I'm going to give you another case of that right now. Not video, but I'm going to read it to you. So let's get to this. So two things here. Daily Maverick, an agricultural story. They choose to lie about agriculture. Okay. South African farm exports to U.S. rise 19%. A green spout amid a frosty diplomacy. Ed Stoddard says, an important point that emerges from this data is that the fictional white genocide and land seizures of Trump's imagination are actually unfolding. Then South African commercial farmers who are mostly white would not be in a position to grow their exports to markets such as the U.S. Interesting trend that highlights several important points against the backdrop of frosty diplomatic relationship amid President Trump's false claims about a white genocide. Again, President Trump is not the one saying it, Ed Stoddard. You are. When asked the question, Trump said he wasn't convinced about a white genocide. You liars, you yellow journalists are perpetrating it, not Trump. I'm missing something else here. Where did it go? Let me find this. I had another story here. Oh, here we go. So Barney Mbotomboti came up with this nonsense about the U.S. He did a 18 May, which I missed because I was traveling. Let me see. He tries to blame some suicide by a black South African in 1980 or 1960s on South Africa. Anyway, he says, here it is. That's what it is. He says, there's an effort by some to justify or sugarcoat this nauseating affair. So I'm going to show you this one. All right, let me put it over here. Okay, so you guys can see it. And I'm going to read it to you. Okay? Come on, get me over there. Okay, so I'm going to make a video on this probably because he's pissed me off. So this is the opinion piece. He's welcome to his opinion, but his opinion's full of crap. 18 May. Barney Mtomboti, okay? So he gets down to here. Where's it at here? There it is, right there. All right, and this is what he says. This is total nonsense, folks, okay? Okay, so that's that, okay? He said there's an effort by some to justify or sugarcoat this nauseating affair of Ramaphosa going to the States. Yes, but things are bad here, they say. Yes, they are, and we keep pointing out that all the time. It's up to us to sort out the mess, not some foreign scumbag who, for his personal gratification, wants to dip his ugly tentacles into our affairs, thus poisoning the well for everybody. Really. Every South African, irrespective of politics, should find this manufactured crisis totally unacceptable. Manufactured crisis. 5 Tswana-speaking black racist thugs tie up a elderly farmer, wheelchair-bound, and beat him to death with an iron. A manufactured crisis. Especially as the whole thing is based on a pack of lies. It's a sick joke, and it stinks. In the inverted universe of these Neanderthals, equality is oppression. So Barney Mbombati's racism comes through again, calling people Neanderthals. South Africa has no quarrel with the U.S. Differences, yes, and has done nothing to harm American interests. But Trump was this week still spewing the outrageous canard that there is a genocide taking place out there. This from man who's eagerly funding and replenishing genocide of biblical proportions in Gaza. Wow. South Africa has done nothing to harm American interests. Really. You are such a liar. Such a liar. Or just an uninformed idiot. Or, let's just be honest, you're a propagandist. I don't know who pays you for your propaganda. Times Live, apparently. Done nothing to harm America's interests. That is the biggest crock of horse manure you're going to hear anywhere. Done nothing to harm America's interests. Well, I'm going to blow that out of the water, which is a small sampling of the egregious offenses against America's interests. And I haven't even put the most recent ones by allowing a racist Islamist party to register as a political party for someone that's wanted for terrorism in the United States and you failed to extradite to America. So just throw that one on top. But let's get to the egregious offense. So here we go. All right. All right. Since you want to claim, Barney, that they've done nothing to help hurt America's interest. Okay. Okay. You're a lying sack of horse manure. And I'm going to prove it right now. Folks, here you go. Here you go. South Africa's ANC acting against U.S. interest. Well, they imposed a 75% tariff on our poultry imports. We didn't reciprocate. They abstained and refused to condemn the Russian invasion. Ramaphosa ran around the world screaming vaccine apartheid, slandering the United States when we gave Aspen Pharmacare $711 million to manufacture the vaccine for Africa, and they haven't produced one jab. They're cozy with designated terrorist group Hamas and Iran. They refused to condemn Hamas's 7 October 2023 attack. Naledi Pandor actually called and congratulated them on murdering 1,200 innocent people. They blamed Israel for Hamas's terror attack. The ANC hosted a sanctioned Russian cargo ship, the Lady R, and ignored polite, discreet diplomatic requests from the U.S. government, trying to explain why it was there. They conducted a naval exercise with Chinese communists and with Russia in the midst of a conflict, 17 to 27 February 2023, during Operation Mosi II. They have anti-American ties with Moscow, Beijing, and Havana. They're actively trying to undermine U.S. with the BRICS currency. Ramaphosa's populist attacks on Trump in 2018. You can keep your America, we'll keep our South Africa. They joined 83 other states attacking the United States over Trump's International Criminal Court sanctions in February this year. They refused to sign an Article 98 waiver for the Rome Statute back in 2000. And they demanded that Taipei close its diplomatic mission in Pretoria. They violated the Vienna Convention, charging our diplomatic aircraft fees, which is in violation of Vienna Conventions for diplomacy. It is a money laundering and terror financing country, which is gray listed. They authorized a United States sanctioned Russian military cargo plane to land at South African Air Force Base at Waterkloof. They recruited former U.S. and NATO pilots to train the People's Liberation Army at their test flying academy in South Africa. They participated in a Chinese Communist Party funded political training school in Tanzania to teach authoritarian ideology. And that's just a smattering of the things they've done against our interest. Barney, you're so full of it, your eyes are brown. You say that they have no quarrel with the U.S. They've done nothing U.S. interest. You're a liar. You're a liar. You are an absolute liar. These are things, a small smattering of things done against U.S. national interest. Close to our farm, a champion goat farmer was killed on his farm in a very horrible way. Like all these hate crimes, they dragged his wife for 5 kilometers behind a baki and left it in a ditch. No news on Mount Etna's eruption. We live in a world where subhuman Neanderthals can fly the moon, but humans can't get a single driver's license machine to work. Planet of the Apes. Maxine Waters found guilty. What? Good. Good. She's a racist fraud. Violating election laws. Campaign for Representative Maxine Waters agreed to pay $60,000 fine to avoid going to court after Federal Election Commission investigated, found that her committee in 2020 violated several campaign finance rules. Citizens for Waters understated both contributions and expenditures by hundreds of thousands of dollars, as well as accept $19,000 worth of excessive contributions and made $7,000 worth of prohibited cash disbursements. It's not the first time she's faced ethics into her finances. Same thing happened in 2010 and 2021. Yep, Maxine Waters. She's a crooked fraud, and she always has been. Always has been. If you want a bit of interesting background on the driver's license machine, look up, okay. Buster, where's all the top-tier black schools? Where are their own business employing their own people? Where are their inventions? Where are the plush residential areas? They don't exist. Salva's going to crap. How some can still remain optimistic and patriotic is beyond me, says Gabi. We will destroy the dollar. This wad of money, 30 years ago, I could have bought an automobile for this money. Today, 5. That's 1,000, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. There's 1,500 here. I could have bought a car for this. Today, I get a couple bags of groceries. That's it. And take a few people to dinner. Cyril blamed Trump for exterminating all Native Americans. Yeah, he's a liar. Trump wasn't even America. And Europeans didn't exterminate the Native Americans. The number of people killed in violent encounters between Native Americans and Americans is only in the tens of thousands. Most Native Americans died to diseases that just happened to find them. They had no immunity to them. Yep. Just like the Khoi, the San, the Mande, and the Pygmies, who died by the droves when Bantu came along with the mosquitoes, which they had natural resistance to, and spread it like the plague. Don't forget they mentioned Lady Pandora. Yep. See the newspaper clipping in Peekaboo talking about what a black government will do? No, I didn't see it. Can I give my account number for what? Oh, a week's food, 900 to 1,300, yeah. Guys, we've been at this for 2 hours. Wow, I can't believe it's been that long. 381 likes is all we got out of 2,342 people tuning in. Wow. Yes, a lot of race-based murders that don't make public eye time. We just proved another one of that cash. Oh, you want your account? You want to give me your account number for that? Sure, give me your account number. Your videos are being dropped on YouTube. What do you mean by that, Ian? What do you mean? My videos are still there. What do you mean? They're not being promoted, if that's what you mean. You see the residential properties are expropriated for the gay train expansion. I have no idea what you're talking about. Oh, yeah. No, we know a shadow ban. That's, yeah, we can see that. All I have to do is look at the number of people who are new viewers. When you get a bunch of new viewers, then you know YouTube has promoted a video. So if I look at my audience, okay. So let me put this on the screen. All right, so the purple is returning viewers. So on May 21st, I had 114,000 of my own viewers come back. So that means some of my viewers watch more than one video. And 34,900 new viewers. So that's pretty good. 34,000, that's a chance to gain some subscribers. But look at this. Since that date, it's dropped to 19, 13, 12, 12,000, 15, 10,000 on May 29th, 10,000, and 12,000. But look at my numbers up here. 82,000, 65,000, 92,000, 57, 49, 67. That's out of whack. Those should be closer together. And they should be in tandem. Look how they're not in tandem here. This one goes flat across, but then this one drops precipitatively. That stays the same. So that shows you that they're not showing people my videos. Yep. So there you go. Janine Scenes, no, it's not true because groceries cost different things in different places. $300? That's depends what you eat. Depends where you shop at. You shop in wholesale clubs, things are cheaper. You buy in local markets, you live in a big city, things are cheaper. It just depends. You buy a lot of prepared food and processed food, it costs a lot more. So, I mean, as a marker, I suppose in many places 300 works for one person, but yeah. They weren't resistant to influenza either, Marty Keefe on Yarsfeld. I got to run. Well, I got to run too. It's time for bed. It's after 1 o'clock. All right, guys, be sure to hit the like button. Now we're at 421. Thanks for that. Still, that's not a lot. Anyway, thank you guys. So I have Canthan Pillay on today. I have to look and see if Jack Miller got back in touch with me because I was waiting to hear back from Jack Miller. That's not the one I want. Hang on. That one. There we go. Jack Miller. Let me see. Inbox, Jack Miller. See if Jack got back to me. Whoops. Let's see if Jack wrote back. No, I haven't heard back from Jack. So I might have Jack on at 7:30, 8 o'clock. Just depends if I hear from him or not. Right now I haven't heard from him, okay? You're very welcome, Andy. Thank you all for being here. All right, be sure to hit the like button, and I'm out of here. Have a good morning, folks. Have a good night for those here on this side of the Atlantic. Appreciate you all being here. Cheers. God bless.